Hi everyone, happy new year. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful start to the equinox today in Aries season. And we have a very special live today, and it feels different, and you'll know why as we go. And of course, we're joined by Mo again. For those of you that already know Mo, he's an NBA player. It's not his first time here, but that's just the surface when it comes to his story. The reason I keep bringing Mo back is because of the frequency that he carries. He's grounded in clarity in a way where he speaks in a way that doesn't just feel good, but it resonates on a soul level, and I'm hearing on a cellular level. So every time he joins us, the conversation opens up to something deeper, not just intellectually, but also energetically. So if you're live here with us, you're here for a reason. And for everyone watching, just stay present during this conversation. You've all been brought in through resonance, so there is going to be something that is going to speak to you very loudly during this conversation, especially energetically. It's one of the most powerful energetic thresholds of the entire year. This is the moment where day and night become equal, perfectly balanced in the light and the shadow. So it's a reset point, we're at an energetic point. So what it is that you've been processing, if you felt unclear or stagnant or in between, is now reorganizing as we reset into the astrological new year. So trust what unfolds and what is in store for you, and don't doubt what's in store for you, because you're being aligned with something much bigger. So Mo, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I had to tap in on the New Year, so let's get it. Let's get it.
So there's a few questions I want to ask you, just opening up, and then we'll flow with it. So the first thing I want to ask about the equinox is, from your perspective, what happens to a person's identity during a reset phase like this? Because we kind of spoke prior about feeling like we fell into a disconnection with ourselves, or we felt like we were losing ourselves in the process, and we're kind of stepping into the version of self that is ready to really create this new reality and all that it entails for us.
Yeah. Honestly, in real time, I felt exactly what you were saying because, like towards the end, I felt myself starting to fade a little bit. But it feels like once this energy reset itself, I reset, and I was able to go back and revisit my purpose and revisit everything that I'm here to do in this world because, it felt like that winter was a lot longer than normal. I don't know about you, but it felt like that time period. It felt like a long period of darkness, but the seeds were still being planted, and this is the time for harvesting. So not only for the things that we actually set out to do in this world, but ultimately for ourselves and our body and our cells to be rejuvenated, replenished, and reset during this time period. And I feel it energetically. Although just being in Cambodia, it's pretty much summertime all year round. We got spring weather all year, but the energy itself is something that I felt, and I had to go back and just really sit down and just repolish, resurface my purpose, and and tap in on that. I call it the re-season. Reset, rejuvenate, replenish, reclaim, recalibrate, and that's where we at. So we had a lot going on. We had with the super moon, the new moon the other day, right?
Yeah, we had the eclipses, eclipse season that we've just moved through. Yeah.
Right. Mercury just went. I mean, Mercury literally just went. Well, it's still in
Station
shadow
direct.
phase.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
stationed
So
direct today.
yeah, it was a lot going on energetically, and for some reason, on the surface, everything was absolutely fantastic during this time period, but it still felt like a difficult time during this winter season. I really can't explain. Like everything was going well, but it just felt a lot more heavy at this time of period because I don't know because we're like literally, still at the beginning stages of the age of Aquarius and really kicking it off and just really preparing the earth. But I felt it. I felt it tremendously. And the other night, I really dealt with some real. I had to do a great deal of shadow work the other night, and it was pretty intense. But coming out of it, I felt so much more relieved. I felt much more aligned. I felt much more powerful because it really tested me. It tested me in ways that I wasn't prepared. I ain't gonna say I wasn't prepared, but I wasn't even expecting to be like tested in the way that I was. So I really believe it felt like an initiation moving into this next time period. So that's where we at. Just now we get a chance to see the work begins that we put in. I would say to show itself in this new season. So I'm happy about it. You know, I've always loved the spring season, but this one's a lot more powerful. If that makes any sense to you, you know what I'm saying? It's great.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree. Where it's like we have had to really cultivate a different kind of relationship with ourselves through that harsh season. Like it definitely wasn't easy. And things are lightening up now. And by the time, you know, April's around the corner, everything is going to be direct. There's going to be a whole totally different vibe. But that discomfort, I feel like, kind of comes from that gap from whom it is that you've been and who you can feel yourself becoming. And that is still continuing to unfold. It's almost like we're kind of being reacquainted with this version of ourselves, this octave of ourselves. We've learned how to bring safety into the body and say, okay, we can actually feel as safe in the unknown and in expansion as we can within our comfort zone. And in many ways, our comfort zone is something that has felt uncomfortable. And it's because there's certain things that we have vibrationally outgrown. And it's almost like there was that checkpoint of, okay, you know the path, but are you actively walking the path? Are you embodying the path? So what does that look like moving forward as well? I felt like it was very much things are now still stabilizing into the field, and we're learning what that looks like. And we're really kind of getting a groove on that in the physical as well.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I tried to keep it as positive as possible, but you took the words right out of my. You said it was harsh. It definitely felt harsh that time. It was harsh, but one thing I will say is I've run into so many divinely connected people in the past several months or so, more than I ever have in my life in the physical. You know, obviously, you know, we build online and we have friends online that we chop it up with, but in the last, I would say 3-4 months or so, I've been able to really truly sit down and sit face to face with other people that's on a path, and that's been tremendous for me. It's been it's like we're starting to, like, the meeting of the grounds in terms of the light workers. We all come together and starting to kind of build ourselves. Well, we'll build our tribe or so, but it feels good. But that support helped me a lot, you know, during this past winter solstice, you know, because it was much needed. And more importantly, it was like I was meeting OGs, like, you know, elders and older people that were really like magically showing up on my path. It was crazy. And they was just like kind of just encouraging me, just letting me know I was on the right track. And it was good to see, you know, because, you know, one day, you know, I would love to be a wise elder with a long ass gray beard, you know, helping out some young people, helping them along their path. So that I felt like I said earlier, it felt like a great initiation, and I'm just grateful that I was able to meet certain people during this time period, because it really helped me a lot. You know?
That's beautiful that you said that. Like, minus the long gray beard, I feel like you already have that archetype just energetically. And I know a lot of people have said it in this space as well. It's like Mo is like the big brother that it's like, where have you been? Like Joseph said it really well. One of the last lives. Like you already have that archetype of that wise sage. So, and that's only because of everything which you've been through. There's so much that you said there. It was like consciousness meeting itself over and over again, right? Like the one source through many masks. And we can see the beauty and the resonance where we literally do kind of draw in experiences to us that are always in benefit for the soul's evolution and what we're moving through, and also what other people are moving through. So you could all have also become a point of reference for those elders in many ways of, oh, this is actually the wisdom in which I've cultivated that I can now impart and share, and giving them also the opportunity to step into that role. So it's beautiful when it comes to co-creations and energy exchanges and experiencing that from the high octave on the other side of it and even through it. Another thing I wanted to talk to you was, like, do you feel like that isolation was because you were being elevated, where there's a theme of isolation I've been seeing coming up for a lot of people? Do you think that's something that we should resist, or something that's actually part of the upgrade when we do feel like it's time to go into hermit mode and kind of retreat within? How has your experience been through that cycle?
Yeah, I feel like it's absolutely necessary, you know, on this journey. At some point in time, you know, that solitude period, the isolation period, is 100% necessary. You know, it happened to me. You know, we talked about it. You know, really, almost a greater about 2 years. But towards the end of last year, I want to say around October, that's when I began to kind of put myself back out there, and you know, things started opening up for me again. And it's almost like I started tapping in on my personal year three, my personal 3 year a little bit early, and you know, life started preparing me to be present and visible again. So
Mm.
you know, that honey stage, that pruning phase, it really helped me not only go within and really just sit with myself and be so, you know, 1,000,000% comfortable with myself. It's almost like I've always felt like I was my own best friend for a very long time since I was a child. I've always found myself kind of just always kind of in my own space. But you know, between 2024 and you know, pretty much the greater parts of 2025, it was solitude. So, you know, anybody that's out there that's getting ready to, you know, tap in on that season, you know, don't run from it. Sit in it, embrace it, because you know that is the time period that pretty much help you and formulate you. Because not only are you know developing yourself, but it allows you to come back out into society that much more grateful, because it can become lonely and boring at times, but it's necessary. But whenever you do come out of that phase, you'll be a lot more prepared to help others because you went through it, you know. So it's like it's nothing better than going through it. You gotta you know, you gotta what they say, go through it to grow through it. So
Mm.
whenever you find yourself in scenarios where you're in leadership positions, you know, you become that much more compassionate, that much more relatable. People can actually, you know, feel your spirit because it's not nothing fake. You actually put yourself through that phase, and let me say this, you know, going through that phase can feel very dark. It can feel very lonely. It can feel very like it almost feels like you're not doing things right at times, you know, but it's really pushing you to really just be one with self, one with source, and to work on things that you have to work on, because it's almost impossible for you to actually truly transform in certain ways when you're busy, and you're around so many different people. So you have to have time by yourself. If you're on that path, you're fortunate enough to have enough time in solitude to really anchor in, because you can't have any distractions. You can't have any, you know, things you off your path. So you have to anchor to energy enough for it to actually settle and become you. And your body, your cells have to be, I would say, reprogrammed in this phase. So it's a whole alchemical process that happens during the solitude period, and it's an absolute must. And, once again, if you're going through that phase and you're feeling yourself going through it, sit through it. Don't run from it. You know what I'm saying? Keep that notepad on deck. You dig what I'm
Mm.
saying? Make sure you're grounding. Do everything that you can possibly do in order to spiritually, in order to you know, anchor in a new energy. Because if you are going through that thing, it's meant for you to be, I would say, leader in many ways. People are going to lead.
Yeah, that's really well said. It was reminding me of I was touching on the hermit energy the other day, and one of the things that I had said was sometimes you do have to take that step back just to gain clarity on your own field. And that the whole point of hermit mode is to have that energetic boundaries and hygiene, like understanding, really being able to sit with yourself and your own thoughts, sit with yourself and your own emotions and your own field, and just gain clarity within when it comes to your own soul's journey. And then when you do step back out into the world again, you've developed and cultivated a different kind of relationship with yourself, where you can see life through a very clear lens, because you finally see yourself clearly, especially when it comes to sitting with your own shadows. So I feel like running from it or thinking that it's a bad thing is where it can be misinterpreted, where it can feel like maybe, you know, the world is kind of pulling, because sometimes we're forced into a hermit period, especially during the hibernation of the winter. And it's not the universe, I always say, pulling us away from anything, but it's actually pulling us deeper inwards. And that's simply because we're no longer resonating with ways that we used to be or ways that we used to behave. And that upgrade does require almost a disconnection from old ways of being that just aren't going to be of service or in alignment with our highest possible timeline. So it's really just a period that we move through, or phase or season that we move through, that just brings us back into deeper alignment within ourselves and what is truly for you. So with realignment advice, anyone that's watching now or may feel disconnected or uncertain or out of sync, what's one thing that you've done through that phase that has allowed you to come back into alignment?
Man, I just allow myself to feel it. You know, whatever emotions that come up, I sit there and I try not to dismiss it because it's showing itself for a reason. So whenever these emotional signals, or just these, I would say, uncomfortable feelings, you know, I would sit with it and I would literally, you know, ask the questions like, what is this? What is it coming from? Why am I feeling this? And then the answers will come. And then from there, I can actually start to, I would say, reason with it, and figure out, okay, here's the adjustments I need to make as an individual in order for me to actually, let's just say, process and transcend and release these emotions, you know. And you know, I spend a lot. I talk to myself. You know what I'm saying? I really do talk to myself. I have full conversations with myself in terms of just what I'm feeling. You know, I would tell myself all is well. You know, I would breathe into it and just allow myself to really just kind of feel these emotions. And they don't always, obviously, they don't feel good, but you know what happens after you know, you really just take the responsibility to, you know, sit with these, you know, thoughts and these emotions, do the work you need to do. You know, the help tends to come after that. It's almost like you help yourself, and then even the other day, right, when I had a very dark, deep, transformative experience the other night, and you know, I had to get up. You know, I had to do some stretching. I had to do some breath work. I had to really tap in with my angels, for sure, for sure. I tapped in with all of my angels. It was funny. I was telling my people the other day, I had to really tap in with my top dog squad and really just pull on those signatures just to help me pull me up so that I can actually, you know, utilize my own energy to help me move through what was happening in all regards. So, you know, I really had to visualize myself being helped by, you know, Archangel Michael and, you know, Ariel and all of my angels, so that I can actually, you know, just work through it. Sometimes it really does take strength in terms of like, you can't always think your way out of this stuff. You have to really kind of move yourself, move your body. So what helped me for sure is just getting up, you know, and getting up, moving around, and just now allow myself to sit in that space to where like I would say transcendental energies can actually start piling up on you, piling up on you, piling up on you. You kind of gotta break the zone, break the energy field. So
Yeah.
I would highly recommend, you know, if you're into yoga, do some yoga, do anything that's going to get the body moving, and then you know, go tap back into that breath, you know, get that breath work going, and then, you know, you just got to be a beast. You know, it's namaste your way through this shit sometimes, and then there's times when you gotta be a little bit like, nah, hell no, we was good, you know, you know, and tap in on your warrior spirit. So it's very necessary. You need it. You need both.
Yeah, that's really well said, because even sometimes it is just physically getting yourself moving and changing the shift of memento, because that's something that you're literally anchoring into the body. And alignment is having your awareness fully with you again. So sometimes it is doing something physical where you're fully aware of what it is that you're doing in the moment. Even if it's something as simple as just asking yourself, okay, if it's not something physical, like just ask yourself, well, where's my energy right now? And how can I call my awareness back to me? Like, am I still thinking about the past or things that are really not of service to me? And that can bring you back into alignment instantly. We seem to forget that we are always in alignment with what's in benefit for the soul's evolution. And we try to find alignment outside of ourselves, or that, you know, when this thing happens, then we'll come into peace. But if we can find peace in the present moment, then suddenly everything is already in alignment. It's like alignment isn't something that you find, but it's something that you return to. And that's just returning back to yourself, even in those waves of the human experience, and allowing ourselves to feel the full range of them, as you said. But just see what the information is. Okay, if you're feeling discomfort, we'll sit with the discomfort. What is your soul telling you? You know, maybe there's something that needs to shift in order to relieve that. So your body's always speaking to you, and it's whether you're still enough to listen. So yeah, that's really beautiful said. Is there anything that you want to touch on or bring up? Or should we bring some people up here?
That's a good question. Let me think. Yeah, I'm sure something to come to mind right now. I'm just kind of flowing. I don't have anything in particular that I'm thinking about, but I'm sure something to come up. But I think, oh, well, yeah, here we go. Spirit work. I just think um, we need to stop being so judgmental about the thoughts that we may be having, because a lot of these thoughts that come to my mind, our minds are not ours. We live in a vibrational field of thought, transcendental energies, disembodied spirits, and a lot of these things that come to our mind tries to show up as us, but it's not us. So we have to really have discernment during this time, because we live in a world where this game itself is pretty much deception. So we have to constantly remind ourselves what's ours and what isn't. So all depending on where your field is, and sometimes you can pick up on certain things and it can amplify perhaps something that you might already have going on, right? I'm not saying that we don't have our own demons, but we absolutely must have a level of discernment when it comes to certain thoughts and things that we're feeling, because it's a great thing that it's not necessarily your thoughts, So I say pay great attention to that, because it's helped me tremendously, because I've been in certain environments where I find myself, once I leave the environment, I feel kind of like, oh, what's that? And I have to remind myself, like, yo, you forgot you was around this person that was gossiping all day. You forgot you was around this motherfucker who was complaining and shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, I had to really just ground myself and realize, like, that ain't even me, but you do have to shake it off. So that means that every time you go to sleep at night, you have to do some core cutting. So now I'm really pushing myself every single day to remind myself, like, yo, I want to cut cords or ties with anything that's not necessarily good for my highest good. And I learned that from you, actually. So I started doing that, and it's helped. So I would put myself in a meditative state, and I would envision myself cutting these cords, ass off me, off me, and then I feel better. So we know everything is energy. So when we recognize that these energy strangers that try to hop on our field, we gotta cut them loose. And just like I was saying earlier, yesterday I got my laundry bill, right, and it was 144, pretty much 144,000. That was the price. I mean, that wasn't a real price. It was really like $3.50 and come out real. But what I got from it was, okay, make sure you keep your field clean and clear as possible. It's time for spring cleaning, because yesterday was technically spring, so it was crazy. So it pushed me to be like, oh, let me clean up and do some things. Make sure y'all doing that work at night, because energetic hygiene is everything.
100%. Like, that is so spot on with using the crown chakra every night before meditation. Even just keep doing energy checks throughout the day. You need to be able to cut your cords from every single being that you're in contact with, even subconsciously, even with electronics, right? It's like you are cutting your cords with everything. You're clearing your relationship with the matrix as a whole, which is the illusion of separation. When I cut my cords, I do make sure that I'm in a very neutral place. Again, you can do it in whatever style you want, whether that's with sword, whether that's with fire, whether that's however you're cutting it on their end and then your end, and then sending it up to source, just completely neutralized. And that's been a huge thing that I've been actually touching on with the hermit, which is sometimes we do have to take a step back in order to step into our own, discernment, and to gain clarity or really maintain clarity from our own field. And sometimes that means that compassion does remain, but we're also not walking everyone's path for them. And there was like a huge message that I got from that, where love remains, but any entanglement within the system dissolves. So you can love someone deeply, but you can also step back from the patterns that they're working through. And sometimes the highest participation comes from non-action. Sometimes the best action that we can take is not acting and just being able to step back, sit back and observe, and just maintain clarity on your own sovereign journey. And that is like the whole savior complex of the ego itself, feeling like we have to attach ourselves to all things. And like compassion holds our heart open, but wisdom also decides how close we stand to it. So it's honoring the creator within every being that's walking upon this planet, and not feeling like we have to carry anything for anyone outside of ourselves. Like that's been a huge thing that I've been working through with this scene as well, and not intervening with the soul moving through its own series of lessons that are trying to unfold, and that they're fully capable of being able to move through, whether that be with family members, whether that be with friends, whether that be with companions. It's like everyone is moving through and has the capabilities and, you know, really I almost want to say like morphic genetic instructions to clear up the debris that they've, you know, accepted within their own ancestral line. So yeah, that's a huge one. I was looking into the teachings of Ra with that as well. And he explains how, you know, you see how higher dimensional beings, as you said, like you're calling on the wisest elders, they are ones that can still be extremely compassionate, but are not falling into distortion of being overly compassionate, where they're wanting to help, save, or carry others, but instead they see things from above, right? So they utilize that discernment with wisdom and compassion rather than feeling like they have to energetically entangle themselves with situations. So it's not removing compassion from this dynamic, but still understanding free will and karmic learning. And that's like one of the principles of Ra and his teachings. So I was looking into that as well, and how we can interrupt that cycle of learning. So yeah, that's that was a really interesting one. Each soul is a creator.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Everything you said was in alignment with something that I've been experiencing as well, because I have a good brother and good friend of mine. And I was talking to some of my people the other day, and she was telling me, like, well, number one, he pretty much fell back into Christianity. He called everything we doing New Age. He basically said yoga's dead, Buddhism is dead, anything that's spiritual. He pretty much said it was dead. He said Christ is everything, nothing is above Jesus and stuff like that. So it's kind of like he approached me. He kind of he came at me a certain way, and it was almost like when he came at me, it felt very cold, dark, and it felt like he was a zombie. I'm like, damn, did my boy just get bit by something? You know what I'm saying? Like, and when I was talking to my friend, he was telling me, like, you don't have to approach him in terms of trying to change his mind based off of his resurgence of Christianity, but check in with him, tap in with him as a person, because he lost his daughter a few years ago, and we talked about how the Holy Spirit. He was driving down the street, and he said the Holy Spirit pretty much filled him up, and Christ and Jesus and everything was pretty much the only thing that filled that hole in his heart from his daughter. And while I understand and I have compassion for that, he began to press upon me like, oh, I need to come back and operate in the same way that he did, and it was really overbearing to me, and I was really like thrown off, because I'm like, I wasn't expecting that from him. But she helped me approach it differently in terms of not trying to save him or try to change his mind or even have any type of conversations in terms of like, yo, bro, try to reason with him, because in the end, that's his experience. He had that experience, and he was able to, find peace within that. But for me, instead of trying to, like I was saying, change his mind or even not even save him, it was like, yo, how you doing, bro? Really tap in with the soul of him. And for me, that was, I don't know if it did anything for him, because even when I tried that, it was kind of like he was still kind of like, real, nah, Jesus is all or nothing. I'm just a guy, bro. So in that circumstance, it really helped me learn to be like, hey, just be a human, be a friend, be a brother, instead of trying to like save anybody or even try to like convince them otherwise. But yeah, so that was my experience, and I've been dealing with some of those things that's been popping up lately. People are trying to like persuade me in many ways. I'm just like, all right, cool, that's your path, but I realize that that's something that I want to do to other people moving forward. I do.
Yeah, I find it's a really interesting topic that you brought up, because I find when there is that, it's like the love of power versus the power of love, where the ego in its distortion, it's like, it's interesting because religion has so much truth in it, but then it's also an inversion of truth. So it's a very interesting construct that we've created here, because the soul is drawn towards that truth, and when we try to force our beliefs on others, or try to control outcomes too much, or try to force reality to behave differently, it's because it comes from a lack of internal control, and that's why we try to control others' points of view. Maybe it's because we feel like our own is being tested, and it's easy to kind of revert back to old ways of being. That's why you said kind of return, right? Where he returned back to those certain self-belief systems because they provide him that safety and comfort blanket. And really, there's a discomfort on a soul level when it comes to that comfort blanket, but then also from a higher perspective, that's what he's deciding to experience right now. You know, it's like the scene in The Matrix where the guy is, he goes back into the Matrix, and then he has this like resentment for seeing the truth of it. And he's like, well, it hurts too much knowing the truth. So I'd rather just put the wall back over my eyes and be immersed back into the experience, because I'm not ready to confront that right now. I'm not ready to confront maybe the pain, and I'd rather externalize it or pass it to someone else because I don't know what to do with it. That can often also be what it is. And it reminds me of the scene of Don't Bend the Spoon, in that powerful scene in The Matrix when Neo meets the child in the Oracle's house, and the child tells him, like, don't try to bend the spoon, that's impossible. Instead, realize the truth that there is no spoon, and then you will see that it's not the spoon that bends, it's only yourself. And that's representing our interconnectedness to all things. Like, most people spend their entire lives trying to bend the external world, trying to, you know, again, like force the external, but the real shift begins with the story that you're telling yourself about what's possible. And when that narrative shifts, our thoughts begin to shift, we begin to change, and our emotional state begins to change. And then the way in which we're interacting with reality, you know, begins to appear very, very differently. You know, that then people begin to respond differently, paths open that we didn't see before. So it's kind of like the magician there. But yeah, it's a self-confrontation. Sometimes it's just holding space for him, and you did that beautifully, right? Where you asked him on a soul level, how is he? Whether he was, you know, completely coherent to that in that moment, it's something that he may reflect back on in this lifetime. But I know there's no attachment on your side around if he does or not. But sometimes it's just holding space for the lessons to unfold in his life in the way in which he's choosing to experience that, even if it's unconsciously right now. And I think that's what a lot of us are surrendering to, because, you know, God says, you know, we all are children in the cosmos. We all have a part to play in the cosmos. We each have a part to play in the cycle. And there always is harmonic order being sustained within the third dimension when it comes to, you know, as many of us that are asleep and unconscious to many of us that are conscious and awake. So that is always being sustained in harmonic order. So, you know, when some people fall back asleep, deities fall back asleep, others are actually coming into their awakening. And that can always shift. It can always be. You said a really great thing around not judging you also your own thoughts, and just being able to see him as another extension and expression of you, and, you know, seeing, you know, that's what he's deciding to experience as a sovereign being. So yeah, it's very much energetic hygiene and boundaries, and really surrender for anyone that's experiencing something similar. Just surrender and respecting how a soul is choosing to experience their life in this incarnation, and knowing that it's always in perfect design, it's always in benefit for their soul's evolution and their own individual journey, is kind of the best way to move with that.
Right. And I think another thing as well, everything you said was spot on, spot on, spot on. 1,000. I think we get so excited about what works for us, and we want to go off and, hey, it worked for me, it should work for you. So it helped me understand that as well, because it's like, you know, he's like, oh man, the Holy Spirit, you know, Jesus Christ, it filled me up. And I'm just like, he felt like, okay, if it worked for me, this is how I found peace. Let me go pretty much, this is how you find peace. But everybody coming to their own peace in their own way, you know, so, you know, so in many ways, I understand. I get it. I'm like, oh man, he's excited about what works for him. Because whenever I learn something new, one of the first things I do is apply it. But one of the next things is like, oh, I want to share this with somebody. But I'm learning to really just allow that to be something that comes to me. You know, if somebody asks me specifically, then I can actually drop some science on them. Like, yo, this is work for me. It might work for you, it might not. But nonetheless, this is still my experience. Is our own. We have our own personal experiences, and so it's always up to us to find our own peace on this journey. So however you do that, kudos to you, and stick with it. Rock with it until it no longer works. And if it works forever, hold on to it. If not, every season has a reason. So to each his own.
Yeah, that when you said that, it reminded me of unsolicited advice. Sometimes it does say more about the needs of the giver than the receiver, where sometimes we are so excited to just give that advice, especially when it comes to us. Yeah, and it's because we want to share that. Yeah.
Like, I didn't ask you, my man. Like, yo, I mean, if you ask me, I'm like, yo, but I ain't ask you, bro. Beat it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I don't like it, I'm sure other people don't like that shit.
Yeah. I find myself when that does happen, again, I just see, okay, well, it tells you about that state of consciousness and how the person's operating. And it's not that we have to accept that as our own, like, but we can respect the soul's journey. It's like, yeah, if that keeps you in your vortex of that makes you happy, then that's beautiful. That's source experiencing itself through your unique subjective lens, and so is mine. So you can hold space for that contrast and those unique perspectives when it comes to life on earth. And that's the beauty about it. Like, we can hold space for that paradox where two truths can be true at one time. Like, you may see Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior as one complex, and you could say, oh, well, I actually have a different esoteric lens. But I understand you on the bigger picture. It's all the same. Like, it's you can see the beauty.
I love the guy. Like, I have no problems. This is great. Like, I love him. Like, why are you trying to make me? What you want me to like? Love him like you do? What's not to love about that story? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
Yeah, it's not at that point. Usually, I just sit back and observe, because there's not really a competition of like who has. It's just. It's like your lens and how you're thinking and feeling about the situation will ultimately govern the way that you experience it. So if you see it as, he's just in his own world and excited about, his personal connection to his faith, that's beautiful. And he's experiencing and expressing that in his own unique subjective lens, as are you. So yeah, sometimes
it's kind of crazy though. Like, kind of to veer off a little bit, it's funny how you can love Jesus, right? But it's almost like Christians have a problem with you loving anything else. It's like, I can't love Buddha. I can't love 𝓲𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓼. I can't love, I can't love 𝓬𝓪𝓷𝓼. I can't love Isis or Osiris. I can't love these guys because it's almost like, you know what it is? I'm gonna give you a perfect example. In the basketball world, right? We have Michael Jordan, we have Kobe Bryant, you have LeBron James. You have Michael Jordan fans. They love Michael Jordan. They would say, but since I love Michael Jordan so much, I can't love LeBron. I love Kobe, so I can love Jordan. It's like, damn, you can't love all of them for what they provided. And they brought these signatures and their energy and what they represent. It's like, you can't find like, oh, I can't love this person because I love this person. It's crazy. And it goes deeper than that, but it's just one of those things that I've noticed about people that's really heavy in religion, based off my experience and growing up in that world, so I still have compassion for it.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, this is like generations of societal conditioning. It's like it's just holding space for where it's still taking place, and that's just compartmentalization, and that ultimately comes from the octave of ourself that is in survival and sees everything as separate. Because it's so true. It's like, oh, I can't like I don't know, like Madonna is like my favorite artist. I'm just using an example. So that is, I can't like Michael Jackson because I really, really like her, and I can't like, I can't even think of anyone right now. I can't like 𝓬𝓪𝓬 because I like everyone, even though their energetic signatures are so unique in their own style. So yeah, it's 100%. It looks so silly when we compartmentalize like that. When really, when we zoom out enough, well, there's truth in everything. There is beauty in everything, and its own subjective, unique energetic signature. And it's the same with every single soul on this planet. Like, every single one of you have your own unique energetic signature, as unique as a snowflake. So there is nobody on this planet and no incarnation in which you will walk the same energetic signature that you have on Earth today. And there are so many gifts that come with that. There's so much beauty that you should really, that allows you to become more enriched by that experience when you embrace your authenticity. And that's the beauty of being able to see what happens when you lean into your own field and what that looks like. So sometimes it is different. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think a great phase is, I would say get to the point when you become neutral about everything, because I think a part of the game is to get us to pick and choose sides.
Yeah. I think when you are completely neutral with it, like when I'm just unmasked and you look at life through the lens of source, it's like pigeons arguing over crumbs. And when you get the eagle perspective, really all of it is just play. It's like humans suffer when they take too seriously what the gods made for fun. Like this is just a way for us to unmask ourselves in contrast. And the more in the 0 point you remain, the more unaffected you become by people who are picking and choosing sides. And you just step back and you're like, you know what, I can see the beauty in LeBron James as I can with Kobe. I can see the beauty in 𝓂𝓬𝓭 as I can within 𝓬𝓷𝓼. Like I can see the beauty in it all. So that is appreciating each unique design and the way in which we're all experiencing ourselves. That's how I would say it with that.
Yeah, you just made a great. I want to hit on one point you said. Everything you said was great. I wrote this in my notes this morning. We can't forget that this is supposed to be fun.
100%.
And it's hard to have fun always in competition and comparing on this journey. So if you have that sort of energy, that's going to spill over to all components of your life. Not only with sports or artists, it's going to, go back to what I was saying, to like, okay, well, Horus is set, he's a Satan, like, it's kind of all the same thing, but nonetheless, yeah, we're supposed to be having fun on this journey. And fun is that's my favorite thing to do, is to have fun.
Yeah, and I think the easiest way to do that is, first of all, just to shift the way that we're thinking about it, and that is alchemy, right? That's the integration of the masculine and feminine, where we're changing our relationship with the material plane, because, okay, we can see the contrast as you versus me, or we can see it as, okay, you versus you, or you working with yourself. It's really just an invitation to be able to say, okay, what do I choose for my belief systems to be, and that to not be something that is just projected from the societal conditioning. And sometimes that looks like you mirroring a complete different example. And like one example could be, maybe people expect you, okay, this is one, because this is something that I can say from my own experience. Some people will decide like football teams in the UK, and they're like, do you support Chelsea or do you support like Man U? And it's like, well, I support neither, and you take a back seat and it's like, I'm not really in this game. Like, it just, that's not really my thing. I just observe it. I can appreciate the art of it, but I'm not as immersed in the experience as you may be. And so sometimes, you may be cheering both teams, both sides, and that's not what people are used to. It's like, I may be wearing a shirt with both logos on it at once. And that could be like a great example for the human experience, from just seeing it from 0 point perspective. It's like, well, I can cheer on both sides and I don't have to choose a side either. I can see the beauty in both experiences and becoming immersed in it. I mean, you may see me one day in the Man U stadium, you may see me in the next day in the Chelsea, or not there in the game altogether, and just, cheering you on for doing what it is that you love. So there is beauty.
Yeah, I mean, you can pick and choose the games you want to play here. Some games I opt out. I'm like, I'm not playing that game. I'm good. And it's times where I'm dealing with certain circumstances, and I'm like, all right, I'm done with this game. All right, let's wrap this up. You know what I'm saying? I got what I need to get out of it. Let me go ahead and just, play a new game now. So yeah, that neutrality and being flexible and fluid is 100%. That's, I found joy in it, so perhaps that can help others as well.
Again, we are all one, and there's something that you spoke about, even with what you were speaking about earlier, was almost like quantum entanglement, where within the construct we we are all one in a literal sense, and also in an energetic and etheric sense. We all emerge from this one source, this one information, and we all have that memory within us. And everything that has been sourced genetically upon the planet, that's been tracked back psychologically and emotionally through generations, just repeated patterns of, okay, it's easy to compartmentalize, it's easy to judge, it's easy to just say, this is you versus me. And that's passed down generationally, but the more that we begin to remember ourselves and we step into the desire to remember ourselves as all one in this construct, but experiencing ourselves through subjective lenses, the more respect that we'll also have for whatever character source is experiencing itself through, and that you get to interact and engage with, that is so different from your own, and what you learn through those energetic exchanges as well. There's so much beauty in that contrast when we see it from that unified lens. So we can see it from a matrix lens, or we can see the beauty in this system in which we've all designed to immerse ourselves in.
Facts. 1,000.
Okay. Are we ready to bring some people on?
Let go.
Okay,
Let's
let's
go.
Suez? Hello, hi. How am I pronouncing your name? You're on mute right now. I don't know if I can unmute. Nope, you're muted right now. Yeah, there you go.
I was just listening to everything that was being said about matrix and thought forms and egregores and things like that, you know, cutting cords, sleep paralysis, things like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything particular to say. It's not like, you know, I'm not interesting or my experiences are true apart from myself, you know.
Yep.
But apart from equinoxes and stuff like that, I only worked with the summer equinox. I don't really understand astrology as much as I should, as far as like the books I have and understanding my birth chart and like what my rising sign is and like all of that. It's still kind of been lazy about that. Mostly I work on just like meditation and ceremonial magic and tarot cards and stuff like that, which is why I like your cards, because they're almost like universal or cosmic. They don't talk about the typical things of like ex-girlfriends or romance or like collective. It's like more of a cosmic reading that you do, and I really get a lot out of that. I haven't watched for quite some time, but when you were new to me, I grasped a lot. And when I think about the Matrix, I think about CIA remote viewing or something with like tapped into that exists, which something originates in that existence, and that like remote viewers can like see that, oh, it is similar to like Akashic records or something like that of what was the name, Casey, or that one book he had that's like touches on the Bible but is cosmic. I forgot what it's have. I have that book though. Edgar Casey, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. Like even with remote viewing and telepathy and telekinesis, like this is all actually very normal. Like it's actually very natural. It's just that we've gone through cycles through this construct in which we've disconnected with that, and in which we're returning to those abilities. So it's very much, that's all within the morphic genetic field, where we can actually streamline and pull forth that information. Even with the matrix, let me actually get it up, because I was basically rewatching that movie or documentary a few like maybe 2 weeks ago, and there was a scene while she was saying that she's projected into the matrix. So you're a high dimensional being and you've projected and cast your shadow, which is this avatar. Okay, the avatar is constructed from, yes, a snapshot of the universe, and that's your astrological chart. So you can think about your avatar. Let me just real quick. You can think about your avatar as having its own universe within it, and on the planet Earth, you're composed up of the cells of Gaia. Okay, so that's like your carbon-based life form. But as Mo said, this is not the whole of you. You are the timeless consciousness, the energy that just simply recycles itself and transforms itself. And you've lived through many different carbon-based life forms. That is the Akashic records. It's also the memory of the earth that is stored within your cells, because at the center of the cell is the DNA. And as we go through these planetary shifts, that also deeply influences this vessel, because it's made up of the earth as well. And those shifts within our solar system are all impacting us. But the note that I had is that while inside the matrix, you can download codes and gifts and abilities from the morphic field. And the morphic genetic field is basically this interconnected database. It's like a projection of your own DNA. So it's holographic DNA. And it's not just about collecting gifts, but also the intention of what it is that you'll do with those abilities. And naturally, you'll recover more of those abilities as you clear up density or thought forms from the bloodline in which you've incarnated into. So you were called forth by a very specific lineage. And it's beautiful what you touched on, because it is very much collective themes. It's what I touch on, because ultimately it's the highest truth of why we're here. Not becoming so entangled with like circumstances that are very superficial in many ways, and a lot of those are just like contracts in which we're moving through and karma in which we're clearing, but actually beginning to relieve ourselves and release ourselves from those entanglements and just remember yourself. And upon that remembering, your dynamic and relationship with those circumstances dramatically shifts, because you recognize how it's benefiting your own soul's growth without attaching to it. It's like you can derive and extract the wisdom from it. Is there anything specific that you want to bring up with that, or even more?
Well, like bloodline to me kind of means like what star you originate from or what star you were born in. So there's like Sirius A or like Sirius B, and with some kind of chat groups I've had in the past, one of them is like the Draco star and like that kind of lineage with the dark side of like the occult or esoterica. And I believe that, yeah, we come from the stars and our soul is supposed to return to the same star. But as far as to touch on what you said, that's a lot of complexity and a lot of words like I cannot like remember off the top of my head. But as far as like getting inspired or like tapping into what you said of this morphic field, a lot of that tends to be like with producing or like writing music or writing poetry, or simply the way you conduct yourself in like a public space of work or anywhere else out besides your own home, that people can receive or reciprocate the kind of behavioral conduct or energy that you portray. And so like my kind of rule is common courtesy and respect to anyone, unless they show me otherwise a threat or something rude, then I have to detach myself from that situation. But I mean, like, I don't really have much to bring about what you said other than that.
No, and what you said was so beautiful there, because what was it, common courtesy
And common mutual respect.
and mutual respect. It's like you can see that from a matrix lens of this person is not respecting me, and then you become your own source and you see, actually this person is sending me an invitation, or I'm sending myself an invitation through another person to maybe put up those boundaries that I wasn't able to previously. And stored within our DNA and what's passed down generationally is inheriting a lot of that trauma and inheriting that plethora of information, which also includes those interdimensional capacities that you spoke about when it comes to the Draco star system. And really, source within you hold the DNA and the memory of source experiencing itself through everything. So I see it as we all emerge from this one unified field, and that has divided itself into infinite subdivisions within multiple different planes on Earth, as well as many other dimensions across many different timelines. So that memory is where that information is recorded. Okay, that morphic genetic field is where that whole memory of source is recorded, and we can access more information within our own bioelectrical system, as we're bioelectrical beings, which just means that we hold a very specific charge, and the more conducive we become, which really stems from our own thoughts. How positive are we thinking about ourselves, right? Are we allowing ourselves to take on the projections in the realm of contrast of other people? Or are we able to say, okay, well, how can I become my own best friend? How can I become my own source? What do I need most in that moment? And that allows you to begin to actually understand the impressions that were taken on by another person, and realizing that all cruelty ultimately does spring from weakness, and there could be deep programs within the family of, you know, disempowerment or unworthiness. And when we begin to look at the walls or the shadows in this existence, including our own, they dissolve, right? Because we see them differently. So we see, okay, that was actually something that could have been inherited. This human is ultimately experiencing profound levels of suffering. And the further we weave down into that construct of societal engineering, we realize how many of those belief systems are not even at individuals. It's like they do not yet remember themselves. So you're just kind of unconscious in autopilot, repeating ancestral wounds. And the beauty of the construct is that you're able to kind of hold space for that individual as they're working through their own sovereign journey, and learn how to hold space for yourself as well. So there's a lot of density that we're moving through in this plane. What do you have to say about that, Mo? Because I feel like it was pretty similar to what we also touched on.
Yeah.
Well, oh, my fault.
No.
Oh no, you good, brother. No, it's definitely similar, because it really helps us to decipher what's going on. I feel like that's 100% a part of our development, being able to, like, you know, see through grass and see what's ours and see what's not, and being able to really process it and be able to, let's just say, either utilize it or dismiss it. Like my brother said, you know, detach yourself from it. Okay, I can pick and choose whatever I want to do with this circumstance. If it's something that I want to play, I can play this game. If not, I'm going to move away from it, because it can either help you or perhaps harm you in the human experience. So being able to tell the difference is huge, and that's 100% of this game, because we are in this physical experience, playing this reality, playing this game, so that we can learn to know what's for and what's not, what's ours and what's not. So that's the beauty of the game, and you know, help people understand that. I think that will help them understand that oh, this is my choice. I do have a choice, and I believe that's where free will comes in as well, because I have the free will to actually believe in this or dismiss it. I can embody it, or I can actually, like, you know, move away from it. So knowing that is powerful, you know. And they talk about, like, knowledge being powerful, you know, information being powerful. So realizing that, you know, once again, what we said earlier, not everything is ours. You know, some stuff is just not our business, right? And like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move away and go about my merry way, because that right there is not a game that I choose to play in this physical reality, because it's not going to be helpful for me.
Yeah, and really well said, Mo. And that made me think, even within our own bloodline, because when we begin to dig into those layers and we realize how we've also taken on those ancestral traumas, they don't actually have to have the effect on us that we believe them to be when it comes to who we really are. Like when we really get into that, especially if you're born into a really heavy lineage, for example, like if there's addiction that runs in the family or abuse that runs in the family, you know, that can stop with us. That's something that we can choose to not continue to, you know, reoccur or to repeat. And that's the energetic network within the body, especially when it comes to our own spiritual biology, where those thought forms of, okay, you have to do this thing because that's going to bring you safety, or that's going to numb you, or that's going to make this stop, can something that we inherit and energetically is held up in our space. But when we begin to bring awareness to that, non-judgmental awareness, then we begin to actually become aware of how those have been kind of blockaging or have created basic blockages. Like reinforced thought forms basically crystallize the stagnant debris within our field. They project from our internal state of being, and we can can release those blockages the moment that we bring awareness to them. And that happens when you suddenly, you remember who you are, then you start becoming clearer about your purpose, you start discarding all the things whom you're not, and that becomes a natural way of you being able to tune into the alchemist in which you've always been, where you can heal those mechanisms within the human body. You have the ability to also heal yourself. So yeah, that's a really important topic as well.
Sure.
Yeah, you're all or nothing simultaneously. It's like being okay with surrendering and not identifying or attaching to anything. And that can be a really hard thing in humanity, because we want to cling so much to the physical world. We want to touch things in order to feel security. But how can we feel secure without even having that experience? Like, can we find peace before waiting for an event for us to finally feel that peace? And how can we feel safe in vulnerability? How can you become your own source of safety in periods of vulnerability? That's like a really important, thing for us to learn in the physical experience. So yeah,
100%. That's true, man. That's so true. I couldn't have said it better.
we signed up for that on this planet, though. Like we signed up on planet Earth at this time to experience that timeline. Like, you may be the first of your kind in your generational lineage that is going to be at that pinnacle point of expansion, where your ancestors get to experience this new layer of consciousness through you. Like, what does life on Earth look like to finally be safe in your body? What does life look like on Earth to finally be connected with yourself? And that's been a lot of the suppressed feminine as well when it comes to the witch wound. That's been like a huge one that's actually come up during the Mexico trip, where we have felt like our connection to the non-physical realm has almost been severed, and we have a lot of traumas when it comes to religion or magic or esoterics. So we're kind of recovering that suppressed energy, the one from many ancient civilizations have tried to conquest when it comes to the mystery schools and all that information that's been dissolved, that's innately within us. And that was the masculine, kind of suppressing that intuitive divinity. And that's re-emerging. And that's like the primary theme that I feel like we're seeing collectively right now, where we're working on our fear of the power of our own divinity. It's like that saying, we do not fear that we're inadequate, but we fear that we are powerful beyond measure. And what does that actually mean to be a creature in this construct? And can you create your own internal world first, right? Your own thoughts, your own emotions that will ultimately allow you to have mastery over the physical realm as well. So what does that mean? And what does it mean to not have it with brute force, but actually trust your own intuitive power? And that's what like Pisces season was all teaching us as well.
Yeah, and ultimately, everything you said was spot on once again. It really does hit on what we said before the show. It's just like, can't forget, we always have to remind ourselves that we are not the body.
100%.
We are the vessel that's carrying the light that's enabling us to actually witness these things. And obviously we feel the emotions of these constructs and stuff like that. But being able to like consistently remind ourselves that, okay, I'm having this human experience as a soul, as a spirit, and that helps. It helps me release any attachment, or it helps me release a great deal of attachment once I can, consistently remind myself, like, hey, bro, this is a game, bro. This is you're having this experience. Your body is so. It goes back to what we always talk about, doing a central nervous system regulation work, regulating the central nervous system, and really getting this body to be on board with the idea of like, hey, we can fine tune your body to be on board with spirit, So it talks about that in the Bible, just bringing our bodies into subjection and realizing that we are carrying out these things as a vessel, but not to get so attached to it, because we don't want our vibration to get too attached to this physical reality in the first place. Because it talks about being light as a feather as we travel throughout this earthly experience.
100%. Yeah, that's really well said. And I feel like that's the whole thing with energetic cords and quantum entanglement, because innately we are always going to be entangled to a certain degree. That's just the nature of this construct, where at a molecular atomic level, we are all one. Like, the particles of ourself exist within all things in various states, from the table to the microphone to everything. So how can we neutralize these imbalanced, almost like toxic attachments or entanglements, even when it comes to our connection with the matrix too, and our interconnectedness to all things? Because we can't ever eliminate those cords, but we can alchemize them. So when we go deeper into that awareness of the ultimate truth, in us being all one within the system, then we can release that attachment of like codependency or imbalance exchanges when it comes to you and another individual, or you and something outside of you that appears to be outside of you, even if that's your relationship with money or your relationship with your position on this planet as well. And also becoming entangled even with collective groups within the morphic field, right? We also have like a nucleus of a family. So sometimes that's the hive mind of collective mentalities or belief systems. That's also kind of what we were talking about, and how we become even entangled etherically, which is some of the strongest ways that we can become entangled on this planet. So yeah, are we entangled to like groups of like loneliness or deep unworthiness, and that's why we find ourselves in certain spaces, and it can be challenging sometimes to challenge our own belief systems and you know, confront ourselves. Are we ready to break away from them and kind of go beyond that previous ceiling that we had created for ourselves as well? So exchanges of life force and being able to have that be a very like neutral thing and a very discerning thing. Yeah.
For sure.
Is there anything else? Anything else? How do I pronounce your name? Suaves? Suaves.
Yeah. It's not my real name, but of course it's like something that I got out of something else that kind of has a lot to do with like, you know, covert or magical kind of name, I guess. I won't say from where. But what I did want to touch on was these kind of equinoxes, as far as like when I did my ritual in the summer, and that I wanted to give a warning of caution, like what you really put out there as far as like blood magic or like soul contracts and stuff like that. You know, it will manifest, and it manifested for me in a very, you know, consequential way that wasn't pleasant. And so, you know, being on this like left hand, like I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. And you know, be positive and stay away from, you know, the phosphorus.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, ultimately that is karma, like that's cause and effect, even if it comes from a conscious place, unconscious place usually. And the funny thing is, the more awareness you have, and when we still choose to do certain things like that, there are also larger consequences. And now we're in a time where consequences will actually manifest, like the effect of that will manifest faster now than ever before. So it is also kind of like, be careful what you wish for type of energy. Again, we are
Yeah.
powerful creators, you know, unconsciously or very intentionally redirect that. But the beauty of that is like you see where it's not highly conducive for your journey, and so you can begin to pull that energy inwards and then redirect that in a way that feels more in alignment with your highest possible expression.
It's been about 10 years since I've been working on that. So I've
Yeah.
grown out of the whole edgelord thing or evil lord and now kind of complex. But like you said, with ancestral wounds and things like that, like I kind of think about you know, my own addictions or like bad habits or like codependency, childhood trauma, things like that you were touching on. But I really like the Gnostic scriptures. And I think sometimes those things about addiction or like sadness or, you know, loneliness or negative emotions or things like that can be a change for growth. But also, I think that's part of like the archons or like the rulers or controllers of like the earth from the Gnostic scriptures. And I feel that like part of that is being aware, and like you were explaining in a more elegant way, or not elegant, but a more precise way, that, you know, to break out of that, and being more aware of like Gaia and like the cells that come from the earth and are the DNA and like, you know, the spirit and the spark or the divine spark and your soul coming into the body and all that. Like I follow somewhat, just not as, you know, precise or like, you know, expert as you are, I guess.
No,
Put into words.
no, but what you touch on is super important because when I zoom out enough, but really, we are all source experiencing ourselves through all these different subdivisions. So source has also uh, has essentially fractalized itself into infinite fractal expressions, including the archons, and they're all playing their role perfectly. And we are also expressions of archonic aspects. We can also become parasitic to ourselves. So it's all very real within this multidimensional field. We're experiencing duality within many planes, not just in this third dimension. And the best way I find to neutralize that energy and not to feed that fear is to first of all gain awareness of that and to not see it as something that's separate from you, but just an expression. Not everything has to look like light for it to be light. So even the archons are still source, playing within that realm, choosing that's how it wants to experience itself. So when we end that loop of thinking that it's separate, then our awareness is no longer kind of leaking in that space, and we can also cut our cords and neutralize our cords with them because we don't have a cord of judgment of they are bad. Actually, then we become deeply entangled with it, or we don't have a judgment of like separation, because I feel like the more that we try to reject something or resist something, the energy actually just amplifies and grows. But the moment that we say, okay, I accept that you're playing the role that you are, or you're no longer feeling any power because you've come into full unconditional love. And now when you're operating in that octave, things here, they can't even touch you. So it's learning like your role of how you're playing in the system. What would you have to say about that, Mo?
Yeah, that's great because he talked about breaking like toxic patterns and stuff like that, and that's been something that's coming up for me as well, just breaking those dysfunctional patterns because we have moved into a phase where it's like, um, in our own personal maturity, to where the consequences can be a lot more. I don't want to say detrimental. I don't want to put that on it, but in the end, we're still working ourselves through these different patterns and our own, whether we want to call them addictions or whatnot. But they are something that this is the time for us to actually begin to, I would say, put a little bit more, I would say, effort into um transcending these toxic patterns. But what you're saying is perfectly like it is what it is because we all source. And sources it's all. It's the omnipresent. So when we talk about the archonic forces, we talk about demiurge forces. Those are still components of source that's playing itself out, like you said, in this game. So for me, I realized that when we go back into our true natural state, all of these energies and particles, we will all come back together and be like, "Oh man, good game, good job." You know what I'm saying? Like the devil, so to speak, is doing a great job at his job. So it's just like if we realize that these lower aspects of ourselves are playing their parts so efficiently, that means that we got to play our parts just as efficient, knowing that these components are literally here for our own growth and just for the sake of the game. It is what it is. So I believe what you said, TT, was a very mature way of looking at it. And I feel like that's the greatest form of looking at it because it's like once we start to, hey, it's still an opponent, but it's only an opponent because I play basketball. We played against the other team, but at the end of the game, we shook hands. Good game, fam. And we go about our merry way. And that's pretty much what this is, but is we're doing it from a soulful level. So it's very important that we really pay attention to the things that we're separating ourselves from, because the more we separate ourselves from it, the more it becomes, I would say, more of a challenge for us to actually transcend it.
Yeah, and I love that this was brought up as well, because when we have those limiting belief systems or cords, we also have those cords in the etheric realm, and it does remind me, like early on in my awakening, which I always call just a remembering, I also encountered many archons in the etheric realms in dream time, and I kind of understood how they were operating. But so when we sleep, we're leaving the body and we're entering into these dream states, and we're also creating more chords. And in ancient mystery schools, it was often discussed that the more conscious we become in the third density, so if we can see our interconnectedness in the third dimensional realm, then that lucidity also bleeds into dream state, right? We carry that level of lucidity and how we interact in other dimensional planes. And it reminds me of a reading that I did on this. It was more of a teaching. You'll actually find it in the Transcendent Teachings playlist I have. And I wrote that to know yourself is to protect yourself. And I said that in the architecture of consciousness, nothing that you encounter in this system is truly external. Every being, every archetype, every entity that you perceive is a reflection of your own frequency. It's mirroring you. So if you actually run into archons now, like now it's not something that I experience, and it's something in the collective field that I still see happening within people's experience. You will never meet anything that's not in resonance with you. It's always in resonance with you. And it can sometimes just show up in the field because of something that is being amplified or something that is being suppressed. Okay, so there's no random encounters in the unseen, there's only resonance. So you do not attract what you consciously want, instead you attract what the subconscious broadcasts, and those are frequencies encoded into your emotional body, or DNA, your chakra system. And as you spoke about, like with your own experience in like the, I guess, like shadow aspect, right? That's also going to tell you your ancestral theme, and something in which you're being afraid to not own, because it's not saying the shadow is bad. The shadow is actually something to be integrated and actually alchemized, because like Thoth says, the whole purpose for being is to alchemize shadow into light. It's to remember yourself as actually being both simultaneously and not feeling like it's something that you have to suppress. So that sovereignty begins with that self-awareness, and that's also where your protection begins as well, because your self-awareness and your unconditional love is the form of protection. Unconditional love is the ultimate form of protection. When you understand, okay, everything is an expression of source, as Mo said, like any galactic beings or lower vibrational beings, or even parasites or draconian entities, they're not inherently malevolent, but instead they're mirrors of our own unprocessed emotions that are then being shown to us through the field. So that could be where your subconscious is filtering through things like shame or fear or fragmentation or unresolved trauma or kind of survival states that we've been in. And that's where it appears as not the other, but instead another form of you. It's a thought form, okay, that has been reinforced generationally. So if you think about this thought form of I am unworthy, I am not good enough, I am insecure, just imagine that over and over again, generations. That creates this whole thought form, right, that crystallizes, that takes on an archetype. Now that archetype you'll see like literally projected into your field, and those are the things that you'll be running into in the etheric realms. So that's, you can often see it when you actually go into meditation. You'll actually be able to see what kind of archetype may have manifested that could reveal itself to you, as you spoke about in sleep practices. I spoke about my own experience in sleep practices. I had a lot of times growing up, but the most recent time being able to see it as actually a generational expression automatically dissolved it, and the unconditional love actually completely dissolved it, and it actually transformed into a luminescent angelic being. And it's because you have this expanded awareness on what it is, what its function is, and actually realizing, okay, it is actually fearful and it is asking to just be held. So often it's taking accountability for how much of a powerful creator we are, and the things in which we were creating even in our other parallel lives that were now bleeding into this lifetime.
For sure. For sure.
Really beautiful topic.
Absolutely. I feel like that's powerful, because the same things that, that created the addictions and toxins, those are the things that we got to grow through. So there's no running from them. At some point you have to, I would say, be in those certain type of scenarios to actually transcend them. So it ain't really about running or trying to hide from it, but it really shows itself up no matter what. So you might as well embrace it now in this lifetime and balance it out, and work it out.
100%. Okay, have you got anything else, Suaves?
I just wanted to touch on one thing that might be a little bit too much information, but as far as like meditation and archetypes and the mind or brain chemistry, like I actually have off brain chemistry, and so like my reality is very personal, and to the fact that like I seem eccentric or strange or like alarming to people when like I'm just talking in the third perspective, which I've managed now to where I don't talk to myself anymore or have like voices in my head. But I wanted to say that, like, as far as ceremonial magic, when I'm not taking medication, it's more powerful than like when I am. I feel that medication is like kind of numbing. But in order to function in the reality or the hive of like the world or like society, medication is kind of like necessary. Otherwise, I have like a menacing stare, or my stare makes people uncomfortable because I'm off meds and things like that. But when I practice meditation, it's basically a clear mind or no mind or what I call void, where you like clear your thoughts. You don't have any intrusive or like random thoughts like, how many likes have I got on my Instagram? Like when you're in meditation, you know, your thoughts are more controlled. You're thinking about what your crossroads of your mind is really like circling. And so like as far as what you were touching on, like yeah, you know, it's only possible when you reach that awareness of what archetypes or what things are going on in your mind or ideas that are the strongest like within your meditation, or when you're not trying to think basically or have any thoughts.
Well, one thing I will tell you, as someone that meditates a lot, the purpose of meditation, yes, you reach that 0 point, but the purpose of meditation is not to get to a point where you're not thinking at all. Instead, it's actually to observe the thoughts that do come in, because we all experience that. We all experience intrusive thoughts within the field. We all experience thoughts of maybe even judging the thoughts that come up that seem like they're eccentric or seem like they're strange. But when we begin to observe that we are, what you spoke about in third person is actually, it's very high level. There's just something with you that you're being called to kind of ground that into the physical body to feel safe, because you're very like, your upper chakras are actually very, very open. And on meds, it's like they're kind of being suppressed in many ways because there is this level of not feeling safe and being able to like fully ground that and be present. We sense that with you. So within the field, there is like thoughts that come in, and then recognizing, okay, you are the observer of those thoughts that have to identify with you. You don't have to identify with them, and allowing them to just flow out. Allow them to come in, feel what comes through, and then just send them on their way out. And it's not that we are actually blocking ourselves, because that's actually, it can block us off from so many streams of information, literally dimensions of information, and even from like other parallel lives and everything. It's got so much information in it and memory. When we suppress that thought or we deny that thought, instead it's just kind of inviting it in and inviting it on its way out. You're not that thought, but you're the observer behind it. And that's like the key process with meditation, even just for Vipassana. What would you say about that, Mo?
Oh, that was Moody. Nah, yeah, that 100%. That goes to the idea we talk about the whole time, just us being a filter, us being a clear channel, and being able to realize that, you know, in order for us to operate in the most optimal way is to keep our field clear and clean, so that we can understand what's filtering through us and what's ours and what's not. So it goes back to what I was saying earlier, like spring cleaning is everything, you know, and having that, being able to decipher the difference, and just allowing source to flow through us, that I am presence. So one of the things that I always do often is, you know, I taught them like, I open up my field to allow I am presence, the divine I am presence, to flow through me, and as prosperous and as clear and clean as possible. And however that manifests itself in the physical realm, I pretty much just move towards that. And just always remember that I am just allowing myself to be a clean, clear channel for source.
Yeah, 100%. And another thing that was coming up when Mo was speaking was, sometimes it can be so uncomfortable to sit in the present moment when we do have so many thoughts in the field that we haven't cleared. Like, I can feel, if I haven't meditated for a day, I meditate at the end of every day and also the beginning, and then just do like check-ins throughout the day as well. Even with your eyes open, you can do a check-in meditation. You don't always have to be seated. Meditation can look different. But if we don't clear our field every day, it will accumulate within our field. And so when we do sit with ourselves, it can feel super overwhelming because there's all these things that are saying, hey, I'm trying to get your attention. This is in your field. We want you to process this. And then we're denying ourselves from that process and we're kind of rejecting it or holding on to one too tightly. And there's a bunch of others in the field where we just kind of feel confused with what to do with it or just overwhelmed. And if we can just sit with ourselves, allow, like Mo said, ourselves to become that filtration system to be able to process that, because it's ancestral also in the field, as well as our own subconscious that's trying to communicate to us. And sometimes it may seem like it's not that important, or it's just something that seems like it's surface level, but it's not. It's always something, it's something much deeper. Every thought and emotion and sensation has a piece of information behind it. So I would invite you, Suavis, to kind of see it as a experiment, kind of be curious and think about it as like exploration around, okay, what is in my field? What is my field trying to show me? Actually invite the thoughts in and then just say, okay, that's interesting. What does that make me feel? Don't get caught too much in the emotion of it. Okay, now I'm the observer behind Suavis. Let's go back into third person. How is he feeling? What is he thinking? Okay, now allow that to clear through his body. Okay, back to stillness. Awareness back here. And then there may be another one that pops into the field. And then go through that same process of elimination. It's not even that you're eliminating it, it's like you're alchemizing it, because what you're doing is changing your relationship to the thought. Instead of saying, okay, this is something that I'm going to judge, or this is something that's not normal, it's like, oh no, I'm actually changing my relationship to this, therefore you're alchemizing it, because you're accepting that it's that. And that's something that is universal. That's for everyone. That's something that I practice every single day. I know Mo practices that. And it's so important, because like actually being able to do that work, you are probably the first one in your bloodline that's actually willing to sit with themselves. It's beautiful to hear that you're experiencing exactly what it is that you need at this stage of your evolution, and it's all perfect design.
Well, thank you for having me on.
No, yeah, thank you.
I got one more thing to say. Take this with you. Isn't that cool to recognize that, okay, to have this human experience, to be the multidimensional, right? We the multidimensional beings. So we have the opportunities to be the observer, the transcender, and the transformation. That's all in the same time in this human experience. So I find that actually phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? That's some dope. That's pretty dope to me. So it's like, we're filtering all of these things in order for us to, so we are a lot more powerful than we give ourselves credit for, because we can maneuver a little bit because we still in the physical. Yeah. So we can do all of this shit in the physical while still maintaining our spiritual compass and whatnot. So that's pretty dope, man. We multidimensional beings out here. You feel me?
Yeah, embrace it. Embrace it all, every single part of you. That's so well said. Thank you, Suaves. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey,
thank you, Mo.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, thank you.
That was really well said with the multidimensionality, like 100%. We think that it's something that we should have overcome already a lot of the times. And I was channeling this in a reading the other day where I was like, actually, even doubt is something that we feel like we should have overcome, but that's something that we should succumb to. It's something that we should actually allow ourselves to experience and do it because of the doubt. Like, do it not just in spite of the doubt, but because it's there, because it's something that we're coexisting with, and recognize that it's just like a localized aspect of ourselves within the human experience that we have the privilege of actually being able to experience. So
For sure.
Should we bring Richie up? He's been back. Oh my god, what's going on? I feel like I'm on.
What's up, Richie?
What's up?
What's up?
We got the Egypt crew over here. We got Jesse. We got Ryan.
Hi.
And Liz is upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a workshop in the city tomorrow that Lee brought up. So they decided to come to New York, and we're just chilling, and we had our own chats, and Ryan was teaching us about numerology over here. He had like
there we go.
Where's he at?
Here I am. I've been in teacher mode today. It's been a lot of fun.
Hold on. Wait. Teach us This is how we gonna do this. Teach us something about numerology for the people, because that's my thing. I love numbers, man.
Hold on, let me
Come on, pull up, baby. Let's get it.
So he goes, yo, do you have a board? Do you have something to write on? And I'm like, yeah, my goddaughter has her playmate setup. She has like a little art studio. He goes, perfect. I got you. So he's bringing
Break it down.
All right, so he wrote down everything here.
Okay.
Break it down, baby.
All right, everybody.
I couldn't
this
wait.
This is the blackboard that I was writing.
Oh, that's the door.
Backwards? Oh, it's mirrored.
Use your imagination for a second. Okay. So this is numbers 1 through 9 in Chaldean numerology and how they relate to the planetary energy of our solar system. So 1 through 9 is Sun through Mars. It's not linear based on distance from the sun or anything like that, but this is how.
Can you write it backwards?
It'll take me a second. The number 1 is the sun. The number 2 is the moon. The number 3 is Jupiter. The number 4 is Uranus. The number 5 is Mercury. The number 6 is Venus. The number 7 is Neptune. The number 8 is Saturn. And the number 9 is Mars. And according to Chaldean numerology specifically, the number 9 is considered holy. It is something that you cannot derive in its base form from any of the letters of the alphabet. It is something you can only reach by calculation. And it is considered holy in that regard. All right, that's everything I got for right now.
Yeah, but you were like doing names and stuff. Putting our names in his computer. Like, what was that about?
Yeah, so when you break down the Latin alphabet, which is the 26 letters from A to Z.
Here, sit.
Thank you. That's perfect. All right. Yeah. When you break down the Latin alphabet, which is 26 letters, A through Z, you assign the numbers 1 through 8 to the letters. So the letter A, for instance, is a good example. The letter A translates to 1. So the word A, as it is a single letter word, translates to the energy of the sun. And that's how that works. Language, the word language, if you add up every letter and what their numerical values are, the word language translates to 9. And 9 being considered holy makes it of specific significance. So language is super important, y'all. Harness it. It's a powerful tool.
They say that they consider 9 as the most powerful number in the whole entire universe. Can you break that down for us?
I've never heard that phrase exactly like that before, but I like the fact that it's assigned to the planet Mars. So this is bridging numerology into astrology, into birth paths, life paths, all these different ways of signifying like celestial energy into like basic language and numerals. Like people have been doing that for iterations of civilization since we've recorded all this information that we found. Everybody's been trying to look at the heavens and put it on paper and make sense of it. Anyway,
right.
Mars is of extreme importance. It's the Lamb of God. If you guys are familiar with Jesus Christ, Christ's name, Jesus, the letters of Jesus form the 9, and the letters of Christ form the 9. So he's like double Mars. He ushered in the age of Pisces. He was on a God-sent mission to do so. And Mars is of extreme significance, being the Lamb of God, because it's like utopian idealism of principal fire masculine energy.
Hey Liz, we're on.
Mars is like the strongest creative, like most integritous creative force. So anything that's put through the lens of Mars is like pure. And the co-creation of the Garden of Eden, as described in the Bible, is like equal parts the sun and Mars channeling energy through the moon, which is our luminary that, orbits the earth, and we see it in the sky every single day. The sun and Mars co-create Eden through the moon. The moon channels that energy.
Wow.
So the Garden of Eden is the moon and the sun, being like the moon is like the tool, the instrument that the sun uses to paint on the garden. It's Eden. So that's how that works. And Mars is like what the sun uses for parity to make sure that what it's doing is like ideal. It's a way that information is basically seen as like perfect and pure.
Right. So is that why the elites always talk about they want to go to Mars?
I don't know. I want to go to Mars.
Yeah, let's go on down. I think we're already there.
Where is Mars? Is Mars literally out there? Because I've heard you heard of the flat Earth theory, right? You know, besides the ice walls and everything. So they got the land of Mars. So is the land of Mars actually like on the other side of the ice wall, or is it literally in the sky? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't know how to answer that, man. Maybe it's a continent on the other side of a body of water.
The inner Earth. Who knows?
Well, how does the flat Earth theory treat oceans? Do they exist still?
Yeah. I mean,
when you walk up to like, when you walk up to the sea and like on the beach in Florida and you look out, do you think it just drops off? Or when when you're inland and you're like looking at only land as far as the horizon can be perceived, do you think that it's just there's only Earth? So therefore, if I'm in Colorado, it's, of course, flat Earth is only Earth. But if I'm in Florida, then flat Earth is Earth over here and then water over there. So what would Mars be like? Some continent somewhere on the other side of this ocean?
Another dome.
I don't like talking about flat Earth, man. That's too simple. It hurts my head to try and do that.
All right, let me ask you, what's your name?
I'm Ryan.
Ryan, nice to meet you. Okay, let me ask you a question about numerical one then. Since we're in a universal numerical one, what would be your take on that?
Sorry, can you please reiterate that?
Since we're in 2026, is a numerical 1 year, what would be your perspective on what we would all be experiencing in a 1 year? Yeah.
Sure, like soul, S-O-U-L, soul. The word soul in numerology translates to the one. Soul is another word for the sun, like S-O-L. Sun one energy is creation energy. This year is creation. Like this is where things are made effectively. Last year was a 9 year, right?
Yeah.
How the math worked out. Yeah. So the transition of 9 to 1 is like, I don't know. So a lot of people interpret the years through the lens of like the major arcana of the tarot, right? So if you're looking at the major arcana of the tarot, 9 is actually inner strength, which from some readings that I've done translates to the energy of Mercury in Virgo particularly.
Yeah, the Hermit.
Yeah, people have been like translating it in that regard as meaning like we're coming from 2025, which is a 9 year, which is an inner strength, like you're manifesting from the inside, but not quite ready to like take what's on paper and create, like make tangible creation, which is something that all can observe. That's something like you're only observing within, right? But then if you look in them, it's not the major arcana, but instead this planetary system that Chaldean numerology describes, 9 is Mars. So are we moving from Mars to sun energy, or are we moving from Mercury to the major arcana 1, which is the magician? Because technically we would be moving from Virgo to Gemini, Mercury to Mercury. So there's like a lot of ways to try and interpret that. And it's kind of interesting. My personal experience was a lot of inner introspection last year. But introspection is a word in Chaldean numerology, breaks down to the number 1, introspection, which is then in that lens like sun energy. So it's like, did we move from like one form of fiery masculine creation into another, or did we move from earth to air? I don't know. I felt that, so that's why I would only use this lens for me. I am experiencing, because everybody will have a different answer for that. I'm experiencing a dramatic shift for sure. Like I'm much more yang this year. I'm putting out. Like last year was like a looking in, kind of like withholding my thoughts and having lots of reservations and stuff like that. And now it's like I'm just saying what I think. And it's like coming out.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think that depends on what you're having as your personal year number this year.
Yeah, that's again, it's a lens of interpretation. Everybody can see that differently. numbers and letters are just symbols, and they're like the basis of creation. They're low-level understanding. If you look at like the whole of creation, which is like, could it be the cosmos? Could it be planets and like solar systems, suns, billions and billions and suns and galaxies and all that stuff, like all coalescing and moving, being created, being destroyed, exploding, like converging all together towards certain points? Could it all be this like incredibly complex spatial math occurring, like, you know, synchronistically? Or could it just be like flat Earth? Like, how are you looking at it? Are we on a quarter? We're just sitting on this? Like, here's you, me, and all other 8 billion people that we think we know about. My brain doesn't really understand that, but somehow cosmic physics makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, we're living in a self-organized system, so it's incredibly intelligent in its design, and it's beyond the human comprehension. Like we are trying to compress the infinite into the human language.
See, one of my favorite words that I've learned, especially through this numerology business, is spirit. I bet you guys hear that a lot. When you're channeling, spirit is speaking through you. It's like, that's you connecting to the soul, the sun. The sun is giving you like the energy you need to express yourself through speech, through writing, through athletics, whatever. It's like, that's unique to every individual. Every individual is in like sovereign creation, in my opinion. Like, everybody has an ability to express themselves in distinct and unique ways, and they are doing so because that kind of variability and uniqueness is what lends to like the beauty of creation. If everybody was the same exact expression, there wouldn't be very much interest in us talking to each other. We kind of already understand, and we'd be acting the same way.
Yo, can I go back a little bit? You said some dope stuff earlier when you talked about like the sun, the soul, and then the one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So is that metaphorically what Christians say, that God is the one and only, his one and only son?
If you go, and I'm glad you asked that, because I've been doing a lot of looking into using numerology to translate the Bible into numbers, like significant words, names, proper nouns, all that kind of stuff from the Bible, and put it through this sieve of numerology and see what numbers come from what words. Like Jesus Christ, 9-9. That's a big one. The word Bible, I think it translates to the 5, but don't quote me because my mind's a big jumble trying to remember like thousands of words that I've done. Soul, Bible, start doing research, start translating. Like, it came from, this is one I want to ask my audience here that I have friends with. Was the Bible originally written in Latin?
Hebrew.
Well, Hebrew is a different alphabet. Aramaic. Aramaic is a completely different alphabet, so it would break the rules of Chaldean numerology. So you would get different results if you try and interpret them differently. However, the soul, the one, sure. That's probably a very literal sort of translation when you look at any translation of the Bible that falls into the Roman alphabet that uses that exact phraseology. Language is intentional creation. That's powerful.
I feel like that's a tricky line.
Love is 3. The word love translates to 3, which is Jupiter. I know that one. That's a big word for me. Use it a lot.
Love it.
Love it.
Love that.
Yeah.
The word sun, I think the word sun and soul in Spanish translates to soul.
S-O-L?
Yeah,
Is that correct?
S-O-L, yeah.
Yeah, that changes its interpretation. No longer adds up to 1. I can't remember what it does, but it is different.
And then you could go back to Latin.
Yeah. So like I said, like this is, I've done a lot of reading into astrology, numerology, all these systems that, again, use like basic numbers and symbols to like create charts and assign meaning to things that we observe in this physical space together. And there are so many different interpretations that if you just pick one and roll with it, consistency is more powerful than trying to like bridge the gap of understanding for all of it, I think.
Okay.
Unbelievable for one mind to ascertain how everybody could possibly be interpreting this physical space together.
Yeah, I mean, the combination is infinite with that, because even when you said about love being a 3 number, and then I think about, okay, you said Jupiter, and then I think Jupiter's currently in Cancer.
Oh, cool.
And then I'm thinking, okay, then we're in a 1 year where it's Jupiter is in its exaltation, so it behaves very, very well. So I'm thinking about, okay, expansion of the heart space in 1 year, that is almost like the reset of the souls to return back to love. But that would be my subjective lens and interpretation.
Yeah, everything originates at the eye, so I like your interpretation. Yeah, that's why.
So for the people that listen, so for the people that listen, how would you correlate numerology and angel numbers?
Into what?
How would you like correlate like numerology and versus like angel numbers that people see constantly, like 333, 444, 22?
Angel numbers. Well, Chaldean numerology and Pythagorean do the same thing to derive a single digit from words, which is it sums all of the individual digits which are assigned to the letters and reduces them into one. So what's a good example? If you end up with a word that's 3 letters, each of those letters is assigned to an individual digit. Let's just say it's 343. You come up with 343 is the translation, the transnumeration, if you will. 3 plus 4 plus 3 equals 10, and then 1 plus 0 reduces to 1. So anything that's 10 is actually a 1. Anything that's 13, 1 plus 3 is actually a 4. That's just how the distillation to make it simple, so that it fits in this nice, convenient package of like, we have 9 planetary bodies or celestial bodies within our confined system. You know, because we kicked Pluto out. Pluto's not important. It's not a real planet. Otherwise, it would be 10, I think. Yeah. I would like it to be 10. Pluto's dope.
Because they say a lot of times that 10 is completion.
Yeah.
And then there's the divine ones of like 11, 22.
Right, because angel numbers are compound numbers. So let's just use a really popular one, because my friend here has a tattoo of 444 on his arm. You can interpret that as 4 independent numbers, which 4 in that planet chart translates to Uranus. You could have Uranus energy, or you could sum those up. You got 4, 8, 12.
That was hilarious before.
Which then you reduce again, because 12 is 1, 2. 1 plus 2 is 3, which would make Jupiter energy. That's totally different. That would be an entirely different schema altogether.
Man, that was dope.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
I got one more. One more question. No doubt. So when we talk about 9, and then what's the significance of 3? Why is 3 always the primary? I ain't gonna say always, but it's the number. It always goes back to 3. It always seems to reduce back to 3 in many ways. And like, it's just, could you explain that to me, brother?
It's like 3, 6, and 9.
Important symbolism. People see. It's like, counting on 3 fingers. 1, 2, 3. You see that like 100 times a day. It's going to be significant to you. It's like you're counting your sheep. I got 3 sheep. 1, 2, 3. That's important.
And
That's
it's
big.
like the person, the individual experiencing the other person, and then they're having the collective binding of the 2, creating the 3. So it's like it goes into that.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Yeah.
If you take 1 and 2
is this a 3 planet? Like, are we in Galaxy 3? Because you got the Holy Spirit, the Son, the Father. Like, everything always kind of like goes in 3s here. They even, not to get dark, they even say like death happens in 3s. Like, what is that about?
Yeah, well, world consciousness experiencing itself and then creating a co-creation to make the 3rd. So it's like that holy trinity of like, that's the basis of all atoms and things.
Yeah, and I do have a little insight to share with that as well. If you look at Jupiter from its planetary composition, what actually comprises that planet, it is like, if you take a 1 and 2, 1 is sun, 2 is moon. Those are, that's the Garden of Eden. The moon is the way by which garden as a word translating to 2 in numerology. The garden is the means by which the sun paints creation. So the 2 and the 1 are like the Garden of Eden. Add 1 plus 2 and you get Jupiter. And Jupiter's characterology, when you look at it, it's like a combination of the sun and moon. If you take the Chaldean transnumeration reduction of the word Akash, you get 3. So Jupiter is like the keeper of the Akash, the Akashic records. I'm sure you guys have heard that one thrown around before. So what Jupiter is a lot. It's an actively functional library. It records everything and is able to put it into effective creation.
What is water?
Water is water.
Yeah,
H2O.
Water? I can't remember. Not what's not
water is
fresh on my
actually
mind.
a very important word. It's actually keeper of records too.
Yeah. Any more questions that you guys have on this exact track?
I actually have a question. I have a question on master numbers. What's your opinion on 11s, 22s, and 33s?
I was looking for I was trying to force, for a long time, I was really trying to like force myself to see those numbers in relation to my own reality. And the more I did that, the less I actually was able to recognize the importance of synchronicity occurring naturally. So when I first looked into numerology, I started with the Pythagorean system, which is more modern, but considered, at least through my own research, to be less accurate than the Chaldean system. And when I saw how my name translated, my name is Ryan, R-Y-A-N. I'm pretty sure that translated to, or it adds up to 22 in the Pythagorean system. And I was like, oh, that's dope. They say that's a master number. I know things. But I didn't understand how to pursue that information any further. It just felt like feeding into some egoic, like trying to make myself more important versus like the principles in the Bible. When you like look at those parables break down, it's like you're trying to dissolve the ego so that you can just flow with spirit and channel like the accurate creation as it exists in the moment instead of trying to force an outcome. I'm sure you guys have heard that. Don't try to force outcomes. I see a lot of that when I see like interpretation of numbers, right? So that alone already makes me want to say, like, don't invest your life into doing like a pursuit of trying to distill the reality you see around you into numbers. And at the same time, the word earth, when you look at that word in the Chaldean numerology system, breaks down to the 8. And the 8 is associated with the planet Saturn. And we are here in this extremely rudimentary physical space experiencing Saturn's Earth. We're on Earth. And Earth as an element correlates heavily to trying to ascribe heavy symbolic meaning to numbers. So we're always fixated on numbers here on Earth. I bet you most times out of 10, and I'd like to hear people's opinions because this is speculation, I'll admit, that if you talk about people's experiences in astral projection, they're probably not just seeing numbers, you know? It's like, am I just like jumping into the ether to look for the number 11, 22, or 33? Absolutely not. I'd love to experience something far more profound than that, you know?
Yeah, I just believe like numbers really is like the language and the symbols that help us, guide us. It's like you brought up the number 22. So you sound like a builder. The master number 22, that represents builder. So it really does give you instructions on the things you can be doing in this world, not necessarily from an ego place, but like, okay, master builder. That means I'm here to build something.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you building on ideas, on type of ideas that can actually be applied to your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that thought for sure. It gives me identity. If that's a little egoic, I suppose that's good enough to know that at least I can roll with something, I could be like, hey, if I'm a builder, what am I building? I think I'm building an interesting like knowledge foundation, if anything else. in using numerology specifically, like it's giving me this really cool lens of interpretation, which like I didn't have 6 months ago. A unique relationship to numbers that seems to give me like, if not pleasure, at least very like gratifying moments where I'm just like, oh, that means that. Like 1 is sun. Let's look at that. Like where do ones pop up? Why do ones pop up? When you look at the number 1111 on your microwave, you're like, what's going on right now in my reality? Like what? Is something great happening? It's like not tuned in properly or what? Like, do I need to expand my awareness to figure out what's going on at 1111? Yeah.
That's dope. So whenever I see numbers, I think of them as activation. Like whenever I recognize a certain number, I might be able to grab a meaning from it, but I think I genuinely believe like, oh, I'm being activated, and however that manifests itself at whatever time, I just feel like it's activation. You know what I mean? Because
that's good. I love that. That's fantastic. Yeah. I think I'm coming into that same awareness myself. Like a little too much forceful about looking for the meaning instead of just like flowing with it naturally. But that's my experience. I'm happy to know that we're doing what you're doing with it. That's cool.
It's activating me. I'm feeling the chills. And I can see your aura behind you as you're saying that. So I love that awareness. That's bringing consciousness.
That's Betty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
But that was just our mini lesson for the night on this kitty-sized blackboard. It was a lot of fun, honestly. Going
I can talk about this for days, dog, for sure.
Yeah.
I love numbers, man. Sure.
Yeah, me too. Again, whether or not it seems like fundamentally like rudimentary, I definitely love numbers. I've spent like 3 weeks. I wrote a program in the C programming language that just does this translation, so I can be like, in the middle of the day, word comes up, like, oh, that's a cool word. Let's look it up. And I get that distilled number. Let's add that to the bank. See what's going on. Like, how can I apply that meaningfully? Yeah.
So,
That's super interesting. It's like you're making sense up here of what it is that you're seeing pop up within like rendering into your experience out here, and you're coming into that coherence to kind of catch up the analytical mind with what the soul is already experiencing. But that's so interesting with what you said about Saturn energy and tangibility and like trying to make sense, because humans tend to grasp so strongly onto these concepts that we misidentify with them. But it's true also with what Mo said also, where sometimes it does give us that sense of direction, because we are here to be a master within the human experience, but not lose ourselves as we move through density or the illusion of physicality as well. So there's beauty in that subjective lens.
Yeah. Density. There's a word that comes up a lot for sure. Things feeling dense. You could look at that through the lens of what's the word I'm trying to think of? Like rational intellect, reason. I think reason translates to the number 5, which is Mercury, and reasoning comes from like the vortex of thoughts in your mind that's like constantly trying to analyze different outcomes to potential things, right? It's like, what's the best path of reasoning that I could use to structure my day, for example? Like, should I start by going to the grocery store? Should I like do all these scheduled appointments in a certain order so that I'm like getting the best outcome with all my clients or whatever? Am I maintaining these accounts effectively? Reasoning. That's you putting your mind to air, like putting all the things swirling in your head and putting them into a space other people can observe and understand. That's what we're doing right now, trying to find like mutual understanding, right? Communicate effectively. We're reasoning. And that, if you look at it, we're channeling Mercury pretty heavy.
That's real.
Yeah. Mercury, by the way, the word manifest, I'm sure you guys hear that often too, translates either to 4 or 5. And if it's 4, that's the planet Uranus, which is like the higher form of Mercury. Again, reasoning, air. Taking thoughts and putting them into a physical space. And in either sense, like when you're manifesting, you're taking ideas that never had form, that people can't see because they exist up here in what we think is our brain, our mind, and then putting it onto paper, writing it, speaking it, meeting with people, and putting speaking that idea into existence so that others can now make meaningful use of it, and it manifests.
That's so interesting what you said, because with the outer planets, it's more, the way I see it is that the outer planets show more things that you can't necessarily control, in terms of it comes from the outside into your experience, like it manifests and renders into your reality. So Uranus is things that are unexpected, shock, surprises, things that can come through, and that can be a pleasant surprises as well, right? It's like Mercury energy. Okay, I'm gonna stream today, but the unexpected Uranus are outside factors where we don't know what's going to happen in the stream, and that's what we're kind of putting in from the field. Right. So that I see as like the Uranus type of energy.
So reasoning is when you're meeting those real disruptions, which are like potentially like altering your flow, putting you in new directions and stuff, and like rolling with it and trying to and again, like your new best direction. Like, now where are we going? Wanted to stream today, internet cut out. Okay, what's next? What are we doing instead?
Yeah, I always say Uranus can be like moments of destabilization, but they become the reason for whatever transformation occurs.
Yeah, it's one of the two most important planets in catalyzing change, systemic change, like deep change. So the other is Pluto. Two extremely important planets. I love them both. They're both prominent in my astrological interpretation, by the way. If you look at it from a sidereal point of view, I'm a Aquarius sun, Scorpio moon. There's been some writing about that where the sun is messed up. The sun is pretty bad in Aquarius and the moon is pretty bad in Scorpio. I don't know what that means, except that I take it to mean that I'm an excellent reasoner, and it's hard for me to develop personal relationships with people. So I can talk about all this stuff all day long and answer your questions about like how things work, but if I'm like talking about going to meet up with you on Friday, that causes some anxiety.
Yo, that's funny. Yo, when's your birthday, bro?
March 4th.
Oh, that's lit. Okay. Yo, so what do you think about like life path numbers and everything?
I've done some looking into that as well. When you look at my life path, mine comes out as a 3 in all the ways that I've done it. Yeah, which is the creative, which is ruled in dual part in my specific birthday numerology interpretation as the major arcana, the Hanged Man and the Empress, the 12 and the 3, and that's because 1 and 2, 12 reduced together makes 3. So when I've been looking at life path numbers and stuff like that, that's the system I use. You generally get 2 results from it. When you break down all the numbers of your birthday, you come up with a compound number. So you're going to end up with, it's quite likely that you end up with 2 major arcana to represent that. So I'm the creative, I guess. That's one way I've seen it.
And the communicator with life path 3s.
Yeah.
Yeah, they excel in communication skills. They're very rapid within the mind. It's very Mercury energy.
Yeah. Mercury in Aquarius in the first.
33. You've got Mercury in Aquarius.
Yeah, in the first house. So like the house of self. So it's
I
like,
was really brainstorming like what you probably had as your Mercury sign, and I was like, it's got to be something like Aquarius.
If you're familiar with tropical astrology, Mercury is on 22 degrees of Aquarius for me. Mars is on 27 degrees Aquarius. My ascendant is 1 degree Aquarius. I'm like a good lot.
A lot of Aquarius energy for sure.
So the matters of the mind come naturally to me. I can reason.
Very interesting. Moza 33. What would you say about 33?
The number 33?
Yeah, he's a life path 33.
Whoa.
Interesting.
You might also
reduce be like the master number, right?
Yeah.
In Chaldean, the word master translates to 1, the soul, the sun. So if you're the 33, you could look at it that way. Like you are master teacher. Okay. That's a cool way to look at it too. I like the thought of mastery, where it's like you put in enough time and disciplined effort to effectuate becoming so good at something that you're masterful. I love that.
Yeah, they say there's a quote, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's something like the master is just the one that was willing to do something enough and fail enough until he gained mastery. Repetition creates that mastery.
Yeah, consistent. Repeat every single moment that you are like existing and putting your conscious energy into something. You're doing that one thing masterfully for sure. So if you got a 33, you're able to ascertain that from whatever numerological system that you're using. Bravo. If you look at that in the individual digit sense, then you've got the 3 and the 3 is Jupiter and Jupiter. Coalesce them. 3 plus 3 is 6. You get Venus. Wildly different interpretation of breaking that number down, because those two celestial bodies operate in very different capacities. But they're both considered to be the great ethics. So that's probably a really good thing in and of itself as well.
That's crazy. So I'm glad you brought that up. So speaking of numbers, so that you said 3 in Chaldean, it translates to 1. Yeah. And then I'm actually a rat in Chinese zodiac, and a rat is considered the first sign out of the Chinese zodiac.
Oh, it starts.
And I've had.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's like that's crazy. And it's funny, I don't know if you watch the Turtles, but you remember Master Splinter, the rat?
I'm not familiar, but everyone here is on that. Rat.
I appreciate that insight, brother. Appreciate it.
Happy to speak. Thanks all for having me.
Yeah.
Get some water.
Bro.
I was like, like chaps from all that.
Yeah. Lee, what's up?
Like I didn't say, man. He said it all.
Thank you guys for the invite. That was lit.
Thank you.
I wish I could have been there in person, but.
Oh yeah, this is crazy. I'm beside myself.
How's your vacation going so far?
Very interesting. Very, very beautiful. Yeah. Today we went to 𝓤𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓬 for the equinox, which is beautiful. Yeah. It's interesting to see all you guys gathering for the equinox as well. That's a really beautiful time.
It's very ironic that you did this at night, because we wouldn't have been able to be on it. I was like, wow, it's so crazy that they're gonna have the live at night. Because usually it's in the morning, and they were traveling here.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have been able to do this. So it was just synchronicity where it's just everything's aligning like crazy, and the energy is just off the charts. So it's like, so I said in the chat earlier, I was walking with Lee in the village where we're at, and I literally felt like my resistance to the joy that's trying to come in. I literally, like, I could feel the other side. I could feel the joy where I can be, but I actually feel that what's holding me back. I could feel I could feel that resistance. So like that joy is trying to come in, and I'm just like, oh, all right. Now I see. I get like that energy is so powerful. I could see where I gotta be. But what I wanted to say was, I was telling everybody I met a spiritual master for the first time this past weekend. She was the most powerful person I ever met in my life. Her name's 𝓤𝓸𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓬, and I stayed at the ashram with them. And I'm doing, I'm working with a guy that's been her follower for 15 years. His name's Jerry, and I met him because I needed. It was something, with carpentry stuff, and I just met him through coincidence. So 𝓤𝓸𝓻𝓪𝓷𝓻, she has 3 restaurants: one in California, one in New York, and one in India. So I finally met her after 2 years. Her energy was so strong that she was distorting my vision. Her energy was that strong where I was like this, like she was like raising me up to the point where I felt uncomfortable and nauseous from her vibration, like when you're near her. So before I met her, she would do a Zoom call like this. Every Sunday she has a Zoom call, and and my first Zoom call, I felt very blessed to be in that call. And she goes, for a whole hour, she's talking about love. A whole hour, she's just talking about, she could talk about love for hours, right? And when you guys were talking about how, like earlier today, you covered a lot of topics. You were talking about like how your buddy, tried to get you to follow Jesus, and how he's the one and all that. But I felt the need to say something to her, and I said, I don't have a question. I just want to say something. But she was talking about love this whole time. I was like, I felt like I couldn't fully love in general until I loved myself. And I finally started to love myself, and everything changed. And I don't have a question. I just felt like I needed to say that. And there was a pause. And she goes, you're not loving a human. You're loving God. She said, you're not even supposed to love other people. You're supposed to love God, because God is in everyone. If you love God, you're loving yourself, you're loving other people, you're loving everything, and you are love. You are love itself. So it was just crazy to me, like, because I feel in my heart, Jesus would say the same thing. The same exact thing that she said. She like, just love, just love. Like and then I met this dude Todd. He's talking about there's thousands of ascended masters, especially in India. They're all over the place. It's like, but she was teaching me about karma. She was teaching me about how, like, washing dishes, doing sava. I felt the need to go there just off of a hunch, and they were low on staff. And I ended up going in the back, and I was washing dishes for 4 hours. And Jerry goes, do you know what you did? And I'm like, no. He goes, you did 𝓲𝓬. You did in service to others. It's one of the greatest relievers of karma to wash dishes or wash something for somebody else. So I was like, oh, all right. And every time I go around them, I'm like learning something else about karma or energy. Love everything as an extension of yourself. Like you were talking about that earlier. I think GT mentioned something about like it was in that realm of love everything as an extension of yourself, as yourself, and treat everything with love, like even your tools, everything. So yeah, so I don't know. I just felt the need to say that, and yeah, so it was just very powerful because all she talks about is love, and you are love itself, and she embodies it so well. Like she's just like, yo, you guys, like you gotta like come down in consciousness to talk, but it's like it's really beautiful. But I felt the need to say that, like it's just like loving God in general, loving that essence, loving the essence within you, loving, everyone is you. It's just beautiful. So I felt the need to say that. And I love all the synchronicities happening right now. The energy in this space is so powerful. Like when you guys started and I'm listening to Mo speak, I just want you to know, like, your humbleness is contagious, bro. Like I was like numb. My body was numb just listening to you chat in the beginning. Just this space is just so incredible. So I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful. There's so much joy. I'm trying to tap into all of it. I'm trying to wrap my head around the joy and really trying to feel all of it right now. I'm with like my best friends. All the whole Egypt crew is here. Lee is here. But yeah. So yeah.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man.
No, that's like what you essentially said is anyone can become a teacher if you listen, if you're humble enough to listen. And it can happen in the most subtle ways, and sometimes it is just through that embodiment. You said it basically without saying it, that the best way to lead in this life is through example. And that woman is like a testimony to that through her own expression. And that's contagious. The sun has the exothermic reaction. It transfers that light and heat and joy to its surroundings.
Yeah, and I did a channeling of I didn't even know who he was. I didn't know who Krishna was, but Krishna came through, and I did a channeling, and he was like, "Are all of you not an ascended master now? Because you're from heaven. You're from the ascended state. Like heaven's inside of you. It's like, are you not ascended now? Like, are you not an ascended master already? Do you not have the knowledge inside of you? Are you not connected?" He said, you're connected to all of existence. Like you're connected to all that knowledge. Like you're not separate from anything. Are you not ascended already? Are you not fulfilled already? It was so beautiful. It was basically like, because I was talking to a guy and he was like, "Oh, I wonder who I was in a past life," and this and that, and it's like we all want to be that person. We all want to be that guy. We all want to be that goddess. And his point was, are you not already now in this moment? He said, "Don't worry about the past. The past is gone. Right now in this moment, you're already there. Like you're everything you possibly can be. Don't look to somebody else. Don't look to anyone else. Like look within. You're everything that you want to be.
You're everything and nothing simultaneously.
Yeah.
You are everything, and everything is you. And that's literally what Christ consciousness is when we talk about Jesus, is the fractal source that immerses itself in this dense plane, and that fractal becomes aware of itself. It becomes conscious awareness. Once consciousness is aware of itself, it's essentially liberated to play in this experience because you see it for what it is. You see you for what you are, a fractal of infinite potential. So any distortions that have been kind of warping the way that we see ourselves, the human condition lifts. And we look at life on earth through the lens of the soul. And that's what you're here to do. You're here to create. You're here to play.
I'm trying to wrap, I've been trying to wrap my head around, I affirm constantly all day, like, I am light, I am the soul, I'm not the body, because my G teaches that too. She says, you're not the body and you're not the mind. And I'm constantly trying to connect with that light and be that light. And my biggest thing right now is time, because spirit's like, you got, Spirit always says like there's no such thing as time, so what are you waiting for? Yet you're not supposed to try, and you're supposed to allow and be aligned. It's like do I actually have a choice? Like, I'm trying my best to collapse time, because my G, she teaches that. She teaches you how to work. She's the hardest worker I've ever known. So is Jerry. They'll work like 24 hours straight. So this spiritual master, she literally teaches you how to hit that transcendental state and work for the divine. So you always feel like you're working for purpose. But when you have absolute focus in the moment and you disregard time, night, day, food, everything, and you're just so solely focused, just as you can collapse time and you hit that transcendental state. And there's a chart. There's a chart where it's like two upside down triangles. The bottom one's the matter. And then when you hit the center, that's the transcendental. Then you get the spiritual. And she's like way up there. But she teaches you once you hit that transcendental, there's no time. Like, and Jerry was like, Rich, we went to the restaurant that she owns. She's like, Rich, you see this floor? We laid this floor and did 2 coats of paint in 2.5 hours. And I'm like, all right, well, that's kind of impossible. Like, it would take 8 hours for 3 of us to do that, like, but she explains that, like, that you can literally collapse time. So it's like, I'm trying to do that quantum leap thing, and I'm trying to just be in that space of it's already done, and I was just talking to Lee about it earlier. I'm like, well, what if you're the conduit, right? I love this perspective. What if you're the conduit? What if you're inside of this construct, right? You're inside of the construct. You're inside of it. And the only way for heaven to get inside of that construct is through you. Like, it has to get through you to get into this environment and fill this construct. So it's like, and that's through frequency. So I'm trying to embody the other side as much as possible and feel heaven as much as possible and be that conduit. And that's the way that I look at it, because it like feels good and it makes it more powerful for me to be inside of that construct and feel like it's got to come through me, and through us, through all of us. Because Spirit does say,
and that may look different for each one of our specific energetic signatures. If I told you that transcendental or purpose came through the nature of existence itself, and that you were perfect the way that you are, and you didn't have to try to be the light or try to attain transcendence, and that you are already existing within the eternal now, and time is moving through you, and you're not the body, but you're the timeless consciousness seated inside of Richie right now. And pure purpose is through existence alone. Then it's in everything that you do, that you are conscious, and you apply intention into everything that you do. And everything that you do becomes an act of purpose. It becomes an act of service. And it's not because of what it is that you do. It's because of whom it is that you are. That is then the conduit into everything that you do. You are already infinite potential. You're already a fractal of infinite potential. That then bleeds through you into everything that you do. Why? Because you're present in your purpose being pure existence. You're perfect through sitting and even doing nothing in your doing everything.
Absolutely. It's almost like your spirituality and your knowing of that, your knowing with your divine oneness and all of it. That's what pretty much dictates your humanity. So being in that space is what teaches you to do all the things that in alignment with being in the first place.
You're already there.
You are already here.
We're already there. And I've been trying to really affirm that as much as possible. We're already there. We're already in the new earth, which I know. In my heart, I know that. In my heart, I actually believe that we are there right now, because I understand that everything's simultaneous. I guess I'm just trying too hard to I'm just trying
It's funny, Richie, because you're saying like I'm trying. You already are. It's like the mind is trying to understand the infinite being that you already are. And it's so funny to watch that mind scramble, because you're already perfect. Like everything is already perfect. You are already it.
Yeah.
It's like when you stop trying, you have arrived.
That's like Buddha. When Buddha stopped trying, he stopped seeking, it all came to him.
Yeah, the seeker doesn't have to seek for answers. The answers will find the seeker in stillness, in just being. And then we apply purpose into what it is that we're doing, because our intention is actually something that grounds the things that we want to do in this third dimensional realm. Then it's like free reign, because you're choosing from the quantum what it is that you want to select and collapse into your experience through your very action. And everything that you do at any moment through space and time, and any moment that time gets to experience itself through you and your divine expression.
Stop trying, bro.
Yeah.
You feel like I know that we all have these type of things in life where it's like, does it feel like it's too good to be true at this point?
Yes, thank you, Mo. That's it. Freaking, he nailed it. He nailed it. Like, it's too good to be true. Like, the shit that's in my head, bro, the shit that's in my head is too good to be true. Because I literally felt and seen heaven on earth. I feel it and I see it. I listen to happy music and I'm there. I've cried many times, tears of joy, for being there in the new earth.
Frequency is super important.
Yeah, I did say that before too. Yeah, I did mention that. Like everything, like I want to be that frequency. Like that's how everything is frequency, and I hit it all the time, but it's so hard to hold it.
When we speak about New Earth and we speak about 5D, again, we can see it through a matrix lens of compartmentalization or separation. But with your teacher, you said G. What was her name?
My G. I'm sorry, my G.
My G. She is also an extension of you. She's an expression of you. So what it is that you admire within that fractal of infinite potential, she's mirroring the admirable traits that also exist within you. That's also an octave. So maybe that's it. It's like you are not just dreaming this experience into being, but right now you're actively living within your dream. I'm a mirror of you. I'm a projection of your subconscious. Mo is everyone in the space. When you can see that as you are everything right now, and everything is you, come back into that coherence. Then you have a complete different experience. You haven't just arrived at a new earth, but you are the embodiment of the golden age frequency, while the material plane is kind of coming back into that cyclical cycle right now. Because you've moved through ages. What you're yearning for is what it is that you remember, innately being a part of yourself.
Yeah, so I'm trying desperately to remember because I can feel it. But it's like I keep looking for anything that I can possibly do, and spirit calms me down because they say what you say. They're like, you're already there. I'm like, what do I have to do? I wanted to do a class with Stephanie. Was that her name?
Yes,
that's Stephanie. I wanted to do a class with her, and they were like calming me down, and they were just like, listen, you're already there. Like the knowledge is inside of you. You just have to what you said, like you're already there and you're trying too hard. It's just, I feel so close, and there's so much energy to utilize, and it's just, I don't know, but it is very beautiful. And I don't know. It's crazy. It's like heaven is our home. Like I understand it. This is not home. This is this dream world. And that's what's too good to be true for me, is that we are limitless. And I believe that in my heart. I know that we're limitless, you know, and this is a dream. And then you think about that, and it's such a beautiful feeling, because you feel like in a dream, you're like, oh, well, I could do anything. You know, I could fly, I could do whatever I want in a dream, right? And I do feel like this is a game. It's supposed to be a game. It's supposed to be fun. You're not supposed to take life so seriously. Like this is supposed to be a game. We're supposed to be children. We're supposed to embody our inner child and have the best time ever and manifest and dance and just like, it's just, you know what though? I know that we're all there. Obviously, we could feel it more than ever before, and it's inevitable. I know it. I know that it's inevitable. It's just, it's less erratic. So it's like I feel like we're it's much more graceful now. Like I felt like so many, like each shift is really intense, and I'm having a little trouble adjusting to the higher frequency where we're at, because it makes you uncomfortable when you, like, I've been fasting a lot. When I was around my G, I started getting that uncomfortability of like vibrating too high. I had to eat something. But this is something that I want to get used to so badly. I want to get used to that high vibration and make it normal. Make it standard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, one sec.
No, it's cool. It's time to settle into the space and allow yourself to be in it. You know, so it's all adjustments. We all make an adjustment to this original energy that we've moved into. Because you know, we've done the work, and came back into our full remembrance. So just take time to allow yourself to settle. You know, if you move into a new crib, you know, it takes a little while to kind of get used to the house. So just keep building, keep grounding yourself, and just be grateful that you made it to this time period, bro. Because it is amazing to be alive during this time.
Maybe it's just a time to rest too.
Yeah.
And to
Fact.
Yeah, and
rather than work and exert.
yeah, 100%.
We're kind
We've
of
been through a lot, man. I feel you, Richie. We've been through a lot, baby. So I get it.
Yeah, we all been through a lot. You don't come to the 3D and not have scars. Like we all been through it. So I mean, now I feel like the culmination of everything that the inner work, like you mentioned before, like I feel the reflection of all the inner work that all of us have been doing. I feel it collectively. The work that all of us have done is literally being reflected back to us, and that's what we're feeling. At least that's what I feel like. I feel all the inner work that all of us have done being finally being reflected back to the point where we could feel it and we could breathe. Like I feel like I could breathe for the first time. Even though I sound like I'm like worried and I'm trying and all that, but it's not the energy that I wanted in this chat. But I am there. Like I am there. It's just I'm acclimating, and it's like I'm too excited because I feel that joy is so close, and I am like we're all so close. For like all of us, like we're all like there's no words for it. How do you say it? How do you express that excitement and that fun?
Well, the only reason that you're feeling the full range of human emotion, it's like you're going from one thing just so that you can experience the other, and you're moving through the shift of those, what sounds like the self-organized system that is the human emotion and the different frequency stages of it. One thing I want to touch on is something that was coming up in my meditations a few days ago, which is becoming your own best friend in the system, because you're experiencing yourself as separate. So what is your relationship with yourself during this time? Like if you treated yourself the same way that you would treat your best friend, what would that look like? Would you give yourself space when you feel like you need it? Would you give yourself compassion when you need it? Would you give yourself rest when you're tired? because the relationship that you have with yourself is ultimately going to shift the relationship that you do have with the world, because you're not separate from the reality around you. You're literally a fractal of the universe. So you're participating in the geometric structure that is this system. It's you're a fractal of light within this field of, you know, co-creation, and you're doing your part within the participation of the collective scale. So your thoughts, your emotions, your awareness are all going to influence the type of experiences that you'll have, the people, the timelines that you'll interact with. You'll see that, as you said, like you've done that inner work, you're going to see those higher octave expressions and fractals also mirrored within your reality, because you're connected with the universe as much as the universe is connected with you. The universe is one single being, one emanation, difference and only seeming. So you are the field. You're not separate from the field in any way. So what relationship are you choosing to have even with the planet within this lifetime? Because when you return to that 0 point perspective, you begin to see life through the lens of source. And from that place, you realize that this is your creation and you're playing inside of your own creation. You're playing with infinite fractal expressions of yourself within the system. Like what we're doing here is play already. So I would say the way that you almost feel into it, surrender and just allow yourself to fully feel it. There's almost like a thing with you, Richie, where it's almost like there's a reluctancy to just fully just let go and just allow yourself to be immersed within the experience fully, and don't feel like you have to.
There is. You are 1000% correct. There's. I know that once I feel like I know that once I let go, it's going to be. I've been affirming, like you said, with like the change, about embracing change, loving change, befriending the unknown. So I affirm constantly, like, I love the unknown. I love change. And that's my home. The unknown is my home, and change is my home. And when you say that you're part of the whole universe and everything is you, and when you say that, I feel so much comfort in that. When you just said that, I felt so much comfort, because you feel like the universe is hugging you, you know, like it's okay. Like it's all right. Like you're protected, you're taken care of. It's okay to just fully just let go. You know, it's just, I guess I want to get rid of Richard so badly. And I just fear letting him, like, I fear what's going to happen when I let him go. Like, I want to get rid of my identity so badly.
Richard is simply a tool and the conduit for you to experience life on Earth. He's literally a vessel. And when you treat really Richard as your best friend, and that shadow is your best friend, because it gives you the privilege of actually being able to experience life in this terrestrial plane, and all the things in which he comes with, all the thoughts that he may come with, or all the doubt that he may come with. And you wrote it down, Richie. What I channeled in that reading, you literally wrote it down.
Yeah, and I felt every word of it.
Yeah, and I was doubting myself even when I was channeling it, which was, okay, well, some of us may feel like we should have overcome the doubt, but actually it's something that we should succumb to. It's something that we should actually lean into and do it in spite of the doubt. Do it because of the doubt, because we get to experience the doubt in what Mo said earlier, with us being multidimensional beings. We're going to coexist with that doubt. We're going to coexist with that thought that always says, is it too good to be true? And find the beauty in that very localized octave of Richie. And know that that's not the whole of you. That's one small expression. And he is perfect and beautiful. But lean into you being a multidimensional being. That's not the only thought that exists within you. And it's not the only feeling. You are so much more than it.
That's so beautiful. Like I feel I started getting into that flow, this crazy flow state that I've never been in my life, where I don't get frustrated about anything, but I stopped reacting. And the universe started like actually rewarding me. Literally, like I got to a level, like I was being tested constantly, and there's a voice in my head saying, "You're failing. You failed that test." Because I go to Nefesh. I constantly tell myself, don't go to Nefesh. No Nefesh. You can't. And so I would get rewarded. I would hear like a rattle from under my car, and I didn't have a reaction. I went under there. It's like 20 degrees outside. None of the ratchets were working. I had to take off this bolt with a regular wrench, and I get it off, and I needed a washer. I roll over, and the perfect size washer that I needed falls out of my pocket. And it was the way of the universe being like, good job. Keep up the good work. Don't react. And everything started getting easier. I'd go to Home Depot. I forget my wallet. Normally, I'd be like cursing. I'd be like, great, I got to go back because now I'm just so patient. I was actually watching one of TT's videos in the car while I was going to Home Depot. So I was in a really good state. So I'm just like, all good. I was flowing. I forgot my wallet. I'm like, I'll finish my video. I go back to and the voice in my head said, you finally passed. You finally passed. And after that, I just felt like everything's just flowing so well, like that flow state. So that's really beautiful. And and what Mo said about, oh my God, like you hit it on. Well, first of all, befriending myself, that's something that I needed to hear because I have not been befriending myself at all. I have been wanting to get rid of Richard, like I had to separate from him completely. So that's something I really needed to hear, because I guess I'm just overthinking it.
I think some of us do. It's like we want to like drag that part of us along and be like, you're taking too long, you're not doing enough, and it's like we get really critical about that part, but that's just like a kid version of us that, or a worried version of us that just needs more acceptance and love and from like a part's perspective.
Well, that's something I had to work on for many years. Like when I first found TT and I started watching TT, I was in the lowest of the low. Like I was so freaking lost and no love for myself at all. But now, like after learning and just following everything, it's like it makes sense that you are love. Yeah. You're love itself.
Yeah, your love's off the
This is the avatar. Mm-hmm. This is the avatar. We're in a game. There it is. It's too good to be true. That's what it is, Mo. That helps me tap into my restriction. Those words, it's too good to be true, because I've felt that in waves so much because I feel heaven. I could tap into the new earth. I could tap into what it feels like, what it looks like, and everyone's involved. Everybody's happy, dancing in the streets, the whole nine. And I'm like, but no, it's too good to be true. It's too good to be true for me to be able to heal myself completely and to transcend time and to be timeless, ageless, and completely free, completely abundant, being able to manifest instantly, and as if this is the dream. But I do believe that in my heart. I do believe that this is a construct. This is the dream. And it feels so good to say that to yourself. It feels so good to affirm that this is a dream, permanent vacation. We all want to have sanctuaries. We all want our own sanctuaries. Like we talk about it, like, we're going to teleport to each other's sanctuaries. And it's just such a beautiful feeling, because why not? Why not have that imagination? Why not feel into the greatest outcome of like having our own private island where we have spiritual talks and spiritual parties together and just doing whatever the heck we want? Like, come on, why not? Because I love that. I love feeling the greatest outcome without any limit at all. Like, what's the greatest outcome? They say, what does your heaven look like?
What would you say about that, Mo, with the relationship? Like,
what I really want to say is I'm going to kind of piggyback off of what he's saying here about trying to get rid of Richie. It's not about getting rid of Richie. It's about integration right now, bro. You know what I'm saying? Integrate Richie into the whole entire collective human experience that you have, and your higher self, your oversoul, and everything. You know what I'm saying? Integrate. Bring it all together, because everything goes up. We're literally ascending all aspects of ourselves during this age of Aquarius and this golden age. So just keep that in mind. Integration is being able to accept that you are, you have come into this meat suit with certain characteristics and certain things, but keeping them in their place. But in the end, integration is what I've been really focusing on. You know, instead of saying, "Oh man, forget my ego," but my ego is needed, and it's for a reason. So, I would definitely keep that in mind moving forward. You know, just integrating everything, bro, and just coming into that full oneness and allowing that to be a good task for yourself. You feel me? Or just something to be mindful of.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It is happening. It is happening, and it's inevitable, and we're already there. I guess I'm just getting rid of these last minute things. We're all getting rid of these last minute things, and it's so much easier than it was. I'm just so grateful to be in this moment with you guys. And I mean, this is
not even getting rid of. Think about it as alchemizing, because it's not that it's something that you're eliminating, because nothing is ever going to be eliminated. You're just transforming your relationship with or to. And that could be the thoughts, that could be your own avatar, that could be the nature of this existence, that could be your purpose, your mission. You're just transforming or evolving your relationship back to you.
Stop saying you want to kill Richard.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, I did say that to myself, like killing the ego and all that, but like Mo said, you can't not have an ego. Like, you know, you can't be here without it, right? I guess it's just balance and just finding balance after releasing all the trauma and all the baggage. You know, it's just a lot. It's a long road. You know, you're releasing such an incredible amount of things that your body has accumulated, your everything has accumulated over all these lifetimes and all this. It's tremendous. It's tremendous. But I've never been as high as I am right now. I feel like I'm literally, like, the last few days I felt like I smoked weed. I did not. I'm not into it anymore. I'm good with that. But I'm literally that high to the point where I'm trying to acclimate as fast as I can, and Spirit's like, it ain't gonna stop. You're going to continue to rise. You're going to acclimate, and it will feel uncomfortable, but you'll understand and you will integrate it as you're supposed to. And it's okay to be excited. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to be joyful. You deserve it. You deserve it. You are worthy of it. You're worthy to be happy. So it's okay to be happy. You know, like, it's okay to feel like anything is possible. It's okay to feel that this is a dream world. It's okay to feel heaven, because that's your home. So go home. I keep hearing this voice in my head, come home. Come home. Like, just at least, and they're like, it's an alignment. It's not a destination. It's just alignment. So it's okay to feel it now. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to feel that? Why wouldn't you want to feel into heaven if that's how you align with it? It's fun. It's fun to align with the greatest outcome. So why not try to feel it? Why not practice our imagination? It's your greatest tool. Why not use it? Why not have as much fun as we possibly can and visualize all the abundance? They're like, if you are the light, that means if you're the light of the world, you are the joy of the world. If you're the light of the world, you're the freedom of the world. If you're the light of the world, you are the abundance of the world. And you're so far beyond wealth, because if you are the light of the world, you are wealth itself. It's like it's like you're limitless. So it's like, why not have fun with the possibilities? If you were in the highest dimension, if you were in the highest reality, the highest timeline, the highest version of yourself right now, why wouldn't you want to feel into that? Why wouldn't you want to practice that? Why wouldn't you want to dabble with that? And it's because you have a resistance to that amount of joy, you for whatever reason, whether it's more trauma to be released, more baggage, whatever it is. That's what's coming up for me, because I could feel that level of joy, and I know it's there. I know it's there. I know that it's a version of us. It's a version of a collective that we're collectively manifesting together, and I feel it. I know it's there, and then I also feel that resistance, that little bit of just, it's too good to be true. That little tiny bit, you know, but
yeah, it's befriending that part, like
writing a letter
to it.
But you also think that there's a rejection or a reluctancy to just fully accept that part of self and unconditionally accept that as being part of the third dimensional experience. Because even if things are 99% good, we're still going to experience at least 1% of contrast in a third dimensional realm. So the paradox is, in order for us to change, we must first fully accept the totality of the experience as a whole.
Yeah, I learned to love the dark side. I pushed away the dark completely. I wanted nothing to do with the dark. Meanwhile, watching your videos taught me, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Those dark parts, even outside of us in society, like these elites, these evil people, I realized like they're an extension of me too, not just the good guys. This woman from the Egypt group, Sonia, she literally was like, Rich, you aren't always the good guy. None of us were always the good person. You have to love literally every aspect of you and all the darkness that you see out in the world, because that's also an extension of you. You have to love everything. Yep. The dark, the light, the ugly, everything.
And each ascension is going to come back up. You're going to have to go dip back into that shadow realm a little bit and love on those versions of you that need extra care. So like kind of befriending that, part of you and just learning to hold it and like be with it. Give yourself time to like integrate it.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be seen.
That's so spot on, because that's even something that I've been moving through, where not only can we hold space for the paradox of two truths being true simultaneously externally, but also coexisting within us, where maybe there could be profound suffering, but then there also, when we zoom out enough, can be profound gratitude.
Profound gratitude.
And joy in the full totality of the human experience. Sometimes we can be scared, but also excited. Sometimes we can be confident, yet also doubt ourselves. So can we hold space for the multidimensionality in which we are and not become too fixated on just one octave within us, when we are a full spectrum of frequencies? You're not just one self, but a constellation of them. You're a diamond with many facets, not just one. So hold space for all octaves, all thoughts within the different spectrums of self-organized frequencies, the different emotional wavelengths that we move through, and then bring yourself back to the center, which is to experience it yet not attached to it. So
releasing all the attachments.
What would you say with that, Mo? Because we'll
Can you repeat that?
What would you say with that? About what?
You said about releasing the attachments, you said?
Yeah, just all of it. The whole thing.
Well, I'll piggyback off what you said earlier in terms of being able to realize that, the contrast itself. I feel like even in this reality, we didn't have contrast. I think the game would be boring.
Right.
Yeah, it would be boring if you didn't have to work through. Was that?
I always say that you can't have, like I said to my sister, you can't have 8 billion Michelles. You can't. We all complete each other. You need everybody. All of us create a whole, and each of us are a puzzle piece. Each of us are needed. Each of us. I always felt like I can't exist without you. I can't be here without you. Like I'm here because you're here. You're here because I'm here. Like if you weren't here, I couldn't be here. That's how I feel. I needed you. We needed each other because we literally complete a whole, and I could feel that more than ever. I feel that connectedness more than ever. This space, when we hold a space, like we're all in this space, like right now, all of us and all the people watching, like I feel that more than ever. That love, that togetherness that we all have in each space where we're at is just absolutely incredible. So I could feel that togetherness if I give myself the chance to really tap in and feel that. So I feel the most positive outcome. It's just befriending Richard. Yeah.
That's the gold that you're gonna like share with someone else on their journey once you can alchemize it. That's reflecting back to the world how this is possible in your own fractal, the other person's awareness. Like you can alchemize this.
Yeah.
By integrating it, loving it.
Yeah.
Accepting it, receiving it.
And what Mo said before is like that hermetism is like that hermetism. It when you come out of it, you said I resonated with that so much. When you finally come out of it, you're able to help others from your journey, like from what you've been through, and you need that time to yourself. And then when you finally come out, you're the fire horse and you're bold, So
our own ways where we get kind of like tripped up and we're like, wait a minute, I'm thinking too much about this.
Now it's time to bolt. So
I think at this phase right now, Richie, you sound like you're really excited about the present stage you're in. So I think the greatest thing I would say, I ain't gonna say that. I would say the greatest advice I can give you is to continue to share that excitement. And as much as you continue to share that excitement with other people like you're doing right now, it's going to end up balancing out for you as well. And to a point where you're like, okay, now it is good to be true. It's true because I balance that energy up, because we go up and we go into these high spaces of meditation and we do this work. And obviously the work is for our own personal development, but we carry this energy so that we can actually disperse it out and be walking lighthouses. So at this point, you sound like you're super, super excited about being in new heaven, new earth, because you've already made that alignment for yourself. Now you got to do is go out and just be. You dig what I'm saying? And be exactly what you know new earth is. Be exactly what that is. I wrote in my book a while ago about what I feel new heaven, new earth should look like. So now I'm just actually allowing myself to actually be a vertical for that. So it's like I treat myself as a lighthouse. So going back to the darkness is like, for one, we develop in the darkness. So although we are on new earth, we are actually experiencing these things. And, you guys are already a living example of it. You guys are pockets of what we've worked so hard to accomplish here at this present stage. So now you're going to still have to go back into the world and be that light worker. You did what I'm saying? But you're going to do it from a place of not necessarily performing, but just from your presence alone, bro.
I could only feel heaven and have tears running down my face because you're included in it, because everybody's included in it. That's the key. If you want to tap into heaven, you ain't by yourself. We're all in this together. So the only way I was able to really tap into the new earth and heaven is so strongly that I'd have tears streaming down my face every time I go for a walk, is because everybody's included. Every single one of us. So when you look at the entire earth as joyful, not just me, not just Richard, that's how you tap into the earth. Every single animal, every single plant, every single insect, every single person is included. That's how you really tap into the new earth. And when you were speaking, that's what came to me. Yes. Like I couldn't feel it if you weren't involved, And that's how I feel in this space, bro. That's how I feel in this space right now. Like I couldn't be here without you, and the new earth couldn't happen without you. Every single one of us.
So let's just be great. Let's just go ahead and just be in a space of like gratitude because we all did our work. Where we was at, we all did our work. We all reunited.
Let's play. That's it. Let's play.
He said it's already on your shirt.
Let's play. That's it.
Let's play the game, baby.
That's awesome.
100%. Oh.
Now we play the game based off of the conditions we chose to live in.
Exactly.
So more that we still want to have contrast, but it's going to be a lot more functional. You know what I'm saying? Because we supposed to operate with our contrast from a place of heaven. You did. So the so-called equations or problems, it'll be, we'll be able to work with them because we chose to work from our true divine ground. You feel me?
Enjoy, man.
Let's get it. Let's get it, baby. That's the thing. We already got this. We already got this. I already feel so strongly. So it's all good, man.
Night. What y'all got planned over there for the night, though?
Oh, it's like almost 1 o'clock over here.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
almost 1 in the morning, so we're probably gonna go to sleep. But we have like Lee brought up the a workshop in the city that we're gonna go to. So he was like, "Yo, can you meet up and get a beer or something like in the city?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, of course, but if I'm gonna go in the city, I might as well go to the workshop too." And then everybody in the WhatsApp was like, "Well, I want to go," so I'm like, "All right, come on down." And we did like a meditation I showed him where I meditate every day at the park, and we did a meditation, and it was really beautiful.
Yeah,
we have a lot planned. I'm giving them the full tour, and you guys are invited, by the way, for the next tour. Like I'm taking them upstate. We're gonna go to the My G's vegetarian place, the spiritual master's vegetarian place. There's a crystal shop right next door to that. We're gonna get crystal cave session. And then we're heading up to the lake house. So there's a lot of, it's crazy.
Y'all cracking. That's
all invited, by the way. You all have a place to stay, and we'll do a whole gig. But very blessed.
Hey man, I would like to say this. Y'all are all invited to Cambodia. Cambodia is low key heaven on earth. Like,
yeah, let's go.
Swear.
Oh, we're going to Peru in June. Hopefully, we're hopefully planning on.
That'd be sick. That'd be real sick.
Yeah. So I got the filler. I got a filler out here. Oh, I gotta show y'all. We got everything y'all need out here, baby. You feel me? Come on out here to Cambodia, baby.
Yo, are you kidding me?
Yo, what?
Well, I'll see you next month.
Show it again.
Mo, do a turn. Do a turn.
Show it again. Holy shit.
Yo, Peru's gonna have to wait. We're going.
Peru's gonna have to wait.
Hold on. Pull up.
Scenery is
We got 11 rooms, right?
Holy shit,
dude.
Yeah, it's mango season, so you know the mangoes is everywhere. What we talking about?
let's go.
Bro.
Mango. This one ain't ready yet, but I'm gonna take this one to crib. Look at that, we got mangoes on the ground.
He's got the bikes.
Yeah. And we got the Buddhist. Yeah, we got the Buddhist temple right next door if we want to go over there and tap in with Buddha. You feel me?
What? Damn, no wonder your vibe is so high, bro. Damn. That's beautiful.
You feel me?
The vibe. Yeah, we're feeling you. The vibes are crazy.
That's beautiful.
So,
where the hell is Cambodia? Where's Cambodia?
Southeast Asia. Tuesday.
Damn.
We got the babies over here chilling, having a good time.
Like baby goat.
Sexy bye.
Of course. Goats have been coming up so much.
You are the goat.
I guess so. I don't know. The goats have been coming up like crazy.
The movie The Goat, yeah.
Wow.
You are the goat.
You saying my man's down there?
Bro, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Good night, man.
Yeah,
Love you.
we all going to bed soon anyway.
See you tomorrow.
All right.
See you in the morning.
That's beautiful.
Love you too.
Wow. I'm just so excited for the future, man, because I know there's gonna be a lot of traveling going on. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we welcome retreats and all types of stuff.
Hell yeah, man. That's what it's about.
Wow.
The retreats.
Yeah, for sure.
We did the work. It's time to have some fun.
Yeah, let's play, baby. Let's play.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
We got the cooking back there if y'all want to cook and everything, you know what I mean? It's all good.
How long are you there? Do you live there?
I live here, yeah.
Yo, you live there, bro? No way, dude. Yo, we're coming there. We're coming there. Like, yo, I'm gonna book the flight now. Fuck it. I'm out.
Sure.
I didn't know you lived in Cambodia, dude.
Yeah, I live out here.
Oh man.
Yeah. For sure.
I'm like, yeah, we're all gonna have our own sanctuaries someday. He's in the sanctuary. He's already there. Dude, that's crazy. He's in the new earth for sure. Oh man,
That's beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
You're living
For
bro.
sure. Appreciate it, man.
No
Definitely
wonder
pull
how
up,
you're
man.
so high.
What's that?
I said, no wonder how you're vibing so high. You're vibing so
Sure.
high, dude.
Appreciate it, dog.
But yeah, so yeah, this was beautiful. And Ryan with the numerology.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan here.
Yeah.
He was, like,
Rhino.
he was like, I love mangoes. When you showed him the mango tree, he's like, I love mangoes.
Yeah, mangoes.
Yeah, we got
mangoes.
plenty of mangoes, man. I'm about to cut something up soon, bro. You know what I mean? When we hop off,
That's amazing.
the mango.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
We definitely got to come see you sooner than later. Definitely.
Definitely. That'll be fire.
Hell yeah.
That'll be fire. I would love that.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this experience. Oh my God.
Yes, it was a pleasure. Like, you guys are awesome. You guys are great hosts.
Yeah.
Likewise, thank you for that surprise. Just to see Richie and
That's what I majored in.
I love that Lee was the first one you saw too. That was so
that was a very unexpected, beautiful surprise.
that was
Thank
perfect.
you guys so much for blessing us with your presence. It's always a pleasure every single
Always a
time.
pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, this space is unbelievable. So much love. Like, obviously, this is a family right here. I feel like this entire space is just it's a really powerful soul family. So, I definitely feel a lot of traveling in the future because I'm gonna want to see y'all in person. Like I need to embrace you. I need to hug you. I need to. So,
Yeah,
it's a necessity. So I know we're already there. So we're gonna head to sleep. We're gonna be with you, like spirit. Thank you so much for this time, and have a great night.
All right, appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good weekend. Y'all enjoy yourselves.
Happy Equinox!
Equinox! We're feeling it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
My alarm is going off. That's to try to astral travel. Going off in the middle of the night so I can try to get out of here. Okay. All right, everybody.
Have a beautiful year.
Appreciate it, Bob. Yes, sir. Yeah, they cracking over there.
Yeah, that was such a treat. Beautiful.
Sure.
So we're gonna close out there, everyone. Thank you so much for everyone who participated in the chat, who was also in the back room. It was such a pleasure. I hope that you have a wonderful equinox ahead. And yeah, we'll try to hop on here again very soon. I hope these interactions bring us both great joy. Is there anything that you want to say, Mo, closing out?
Oh man, I want to say I appreciate everybody who tapped in with us. You know, the chat was cracking. I want you guys to continue to just integrate yourselves, continue to take good care of yourselves. I'm speaking to myself as well, you know, because we have to always check in with our human self. You know, just make sure you keeping the body moving, keep the heart rate up. That's very important. Making that body, the body is the thing that needs to be integrated with our spirit and our soul. So keep working on your mind, body, and spirit, your soul. Stay tapped in. I appreciate you guys. I'm sure we will build again soon. And it's always a pleasure. And I love this community. TT, thank you so much for allowing me to come on here and, express myself, ask questions, learn. I mean, I've learned a lot. You know, I got some stuff to go look up and research myself. So I appreciate it. This is wonderful. And hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And, Happy New Year, man. Yeah.
Beautifully said. Thank you guys so much. Also, a big thank you to Pray7 and Lioness Delight, thank you so much for your super chats. You guys are deeply appreciated. May the energy that you send out continue to ripple through the cosmos and return to you tenfold. You're super, super appreciated, as well as everyone who's participated in the chat and everyone that's watching this on the playback. If this happens to materialize into reality and you enter into the sacred world line collision, do consider subscribing. And yeah, that's going to be it, guys. Until next time, Happy New Year. Bye.